overseas. The F word in travel. With an HSBC Global Money account, you can drop from Acapulco to Zurich. That means no here, bonjour, no here, howdy, and definitely no here. Pay no HSBC fees overseas with a Global Money account.
HSBC UK, opening up a world of opportunity. Available to HSBC UK customers with an eligible current account. Exclude some accounts such as the HSBC Basic Bank account. For mobile banking app users only. Non-HSBC fees may apply.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Luker's Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard. It's a 6-game, 6-hour special kicking off at Pittodrie where Aberdeen host Celtic. Then attentions turn to 3 o'clock where Rangers welcome Livingston to Ibrox. Motherwell take on Kilmarnock. It's Hibs against St Mirren, Dundee against Hearts and Ross County St Johnstone. I'm Andrew Maclean. Joining me in the studio today is Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Aberdeen are looking for a new manager. They have won only 6 of their 21 league games so far, and in those 21 games they've only kept a clean sheet 4 times. But the focus today is all on Celtic. The fans are deeply divided over the transfer window just closed. Some are outraged by just 2 signings, one a loanee, neither playing from the start today. Other fans are reluctant to hit the panic button. Brendan Rodgers, though, says the window lacked bravery. One thing is certain: if Celtic drop any points today, it'll be a savage blow to their hopes of retaining the title. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for drama.
Yeah, it does have this feeling of a big afternoon. Anytime Celtic or Rangers go to Pittodrie, we say it's a huge fixture and a test, and it will be. For a team that's just lost their manager, you always expect a reaction. And what sort of reaction will the Celtic team give their manager? He has backed him. Maybe he's unhappy, the lack of signings and the lack of ambition really from the club, but he has to show what a good coach he is, and it starts today by getting a result. Could be a big afternoon in the title race.
I don't think could be. I think it will be a big afternoon, and it starts with a cracker at Pittodrie. First and foremost, I think we'll get a very exciting game. I think we will certainly get goals. I know the sort of headlines is about Celtic and the transfer window, but they've got to put that behind them. They've got to make sure they got to a very difficult fixture, pick up 3 points, put the pressure back on Rangers, obviously again favourites against a poor Livingston side. But it's all about this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of talking points between now and 6 o'clock about Celtic's transfer window.
Yes, we will be with you until 6 o'clock, but the main focus right now, Aberdeen against Celtic at Pittodrie. Dave Galloway is there with the team news.
Yes, Andrew, good afternoon. Turbulent times for Aberdeen. Barry Robson shown the door this week, the 4th manager sacked here in under 3 years. Just 3 days later, facing Celtic is probably the last thing they need. And Celtic have an excellent record against the Dons with 8 successive wins, including a 3-1 victory on their previous Pittodrie trip and that 6-0 mauling in Glasgow in November. They'll see this lunchtime clash as a massive chance to open up an 8-point lead over Rangers at the top of the table, if even for a few hours. Aberdeen make 4 changes. In come Stefan Gartenmann, Connor Barron, new signing Killian Phillips and Dante Polvara. Out drop Angus MacDonald, Jack Milne, Leighton Clarkson and Esther Sockler. So Kelleroos in goals. It's back to the back 4. Nicky Devlin, Stefan Gartenmann, Richard Jensen and Jack McKenzie. The 2 sitters, Connor Barron and Graham Shinney. In front of them, Dante Polvara, Killian Phillips and Jamie McGrath, with Bojan Majowski leading the line. The substitutes, Doohan, Clarkson, Duke, Hayes, Sockler, Morris, Duncan, MacDonald and Milne. Just the one change for Celtic. It's Mike Nawrowski coming into the back 4, replacing Cameron Carter-Vickers. So Joe Hart in goals. At the back, Alistair Johnston, Mike Nawrowski, Liam Scales and Alexandro Bernabe. Midfield, Matt O'Reilly, Callum McGregor and Paulo Bernardo, with Leal Abada, Kyogo and Luis Palma up top. As for the Celtic substitutes, well, a couple of new guys on the bench this lunchtime. Adam Ida and Nicholas Kuhn, and they are joined by fellow subs Scott Bain, Holm, Vata, Kelly, Forrest, Ralston and Welsh. Match referee here at Pittodrie Stadium, where conditions are perfect. The sun is shining, pitch is looking great. Stephen Maclean, and in VAR, Stephen Kirkland.
Yes, there is a game of football to be played, but a lot of the talk over the last couple of days in regards to Celtic has been their transfer activity. We got your thoughts on it last night, Hugh. Mark and Gordon, the two of you, were in the studio on deadline day on Thursday. Were you expecting more to be done by Celtic in the build up to this game?
Well, at the start of the month, yes, I was purely going with what the manager said the squad needed, and I think to the naked eye anyone can see what the squad needs if they're serious about, you know, winning this title and then progressing in Europe, and that's what it's about, bedding players in. So I was surprised that many more players weren't added, but when it got to Thursday and we were sitting in the show with only 5 hours to go, I wasn't surprised when it shut that was only 2 players added. Look, the manager has obviously asked for more, and he's been quoted saying that it's up to him to change that sort of mentality. That may take time, and it's now over to him to show if he is an elite manager, if he can get the best out of this squad. Bernaby's starting today in place of Taylor, who's injured, and that's the risk you run when you don't add to your squad. You pick up injuries, and the guys who have been out the picture for so long, you expect them to do a job, and he's relying on Bernaby. Navrotsy's come in for Carter Vickers. You look at the bench, it's some of it's inexperienced within that. It shows that it's not the strongest Celtic squad I've seen in a long time.
Brendan Rodgers didn't say he was unhappy with the window. He just said that he felt that they could maybe have been braver in the moves they made. It's something he wants to change, but for now the squad he has is the squad he needs to go with until the end of the season, and it's now that test for him.
Yeah, of course it's a test for him. I think everyone involved with Celtic, the supporters, especially when Brendan comes out as the window was opening and talks about 4 quality players. Obviously they've not achieved that. Now I'll cut Celtic board or whoever, recruitment, whoever you want to throw the blame to, a bit of slack, because I think the transfer window's been very difficult. You look down England, even the spending down there's been very, very poor. There's no doubt in my mind that Celtic have went for targets, absolutely no doubt. Now Brendan Rodgers saying a bit braver might have been a case of, did Celtic have a cut-off line with finances of, you know, bringing in, or maybe going that extra bit to bring in the quality that Brendan Rodgers wanted? Obviously it's not happened. Then there's question marks about Lagerbielke getting kept because of Carter Vickers. Why did Turnbull go to Cardiff? For me it was a no-brainer. His contract was up, the lad wanted out. The Celtic fans, he wasn't their favourite, and they were getting £2 million. So I think that's the reason behind that. Look, Celtic put themselves under a little bit of pressure, and it starts today at Pittodrie, because if Celtic drop anything today, I think we'll be inundated with phone calls and very angry Celtic supporters. They've still got enough in their locker, no doubt about it, to go win today. I think they'll win today, and I still think they could. In my opinion, I've not changed my mind. I still think they'll win the league.
Yeah, I say that is the test for Brendan Rodgers, but they're coming up against a side today who are in a bad place. They've just sacked their manager, and it'll be interesting to see how Aberdeen approach this, and also how Celtic approach it as well.
Well, I read out the stats at the start of the programme. 6 wins in 21 for Aberdeen, only 4 clean sheets kept in 21 games. But for me, the Celtic squad is less strong than it was when the window opened. The bench with Daniel Kelly, Rocco Vata, these are good young players, but we're at a stage in the season now where there are 15 games left for Celtic. It's not enough to say, oh, it's a long season. 15 games left for Celtic. So, you know, of all the experiments and the projects and all the rest of it that came in, only Paulo Bernardo makes the starting 11. Lagerbielke, who supposed to be in Serie A with Lecce by this time, and Celtic kept him back, he's not even on the bench. I don't understand too much of what's going on at Celtic. I know what Brendan Rodgers says for public consumption. I'd like to hear what he says in private.
Peter Leavin in interim charge for Aberdeen today, up against Brendan Rodgers. Kick-off is at 12:30.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. They'll collect, repair and deliver your vehicle, providing a hassle-free service.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Fees. The F word in travel. With an HSBC Global Money account, you can drop fees from Acapulco to Zurich. That means no fees here. Bonjour. No fees here. Howdy. And definitely no fees here. Pay no HSBC fees overseas with a Global Money account.
HSBC UK, opening up a world of opportunity. Available to HSBC UK customers with an eligible current account. Exclude some accounts such as the HSBC Basic Bank account. For mobile banking app users only. Non-HSBC fees may apply.
Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance. With mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Less than 15 minutes to go until kick-off at Pittodrie for Aberdeen against Celtic. The team news is in. No real surprises for Celtic. There is a change of shape for Aberdeen with Peter Leavin in interim charge. I think it was you, Mark, that mentioned the Celtic bench certainly doesn't look as strong as Celtic benches have looked in previous seasons. They do have a lot of players out. Cameron Carter-Vickers is injured. Rio Hatate is injured. Plenty of players over at the Asian Cup as well. Iwata is injured as well. But is that maybe one of Greg Taylor, of course, is injured. That's why Bernaby's starting. But is that maybe one of the reasons why some Celtic fans have their concerns, because they don't feel that the right backup is there rather than the quality in the first team? Or is it a bit of both?
I suppose so. Celtic fans want a bit of everything, don't they? Because they want a strong squad. They want a perfect starting 11 followed by a bench full of stars to come on and really impact games. And I suppose when the club's saying that they've got this big pot of money and an elite manager, why does it not take that shape? But then they also want to see homegrown players, and they want to see people coming through the academy. And you look at that Celtic side today, this is the champions, the treble winners, and they've got Callum McGregor in there. They've got Welsh, Ralston, Vata, Kelly, Forrest, all came through their academy. So, you know, you can't have it both ways all the time. Yes, they're expecting some quality in there to really push those first teamers, but Brendan Rodgers has showed he's a manager who does like to develop as well, and he's quite vocal about that. That's where he started his managerial career, and he's given some Celtic young players a chance. Navata came on in the cup the other week there, and he scores, he makes an impact, and that's all these young players can do. Now, I don't know how much we'll see these young players today because Pittodrie's a different test, but you know, it's good for these players to get recognised for what they're doing at youth level. It's when they step up, have they got the real quality to make an effect in this league?
But
it remains to be seen.
To go back to the window, the famous window, Nicholas Kuhn is on the bench, Adam Ida is on the bench. The fans are looking to see what they can do. Now it's a question of, do they come on because they have to do something, the game's gone away from Celtic, or do they come on and it's an exhibition of their talents? It's one or the other. But with the greatest respect to Rocco Vata, who is yet to commit himself to Celtic, and to Daniel Kelly, who doesn't have the experience for this type of game, you want to see Kuhn and or Ida on the park.
Brendan Rodgers was asked yesterday if the January signings would help take Celtic up a level. His response was quite interesting. He said, we've brought in players who can help, support what we're trying to do. With his comment about bravery, wanting to be braver in the transfer market, he wants them to spend that little bit more. He wants them to bring in ready-made starters, and it's just not happening at the moment, is it?
No, and I think that's what's disappointed the Celtic fans. And I keep going back to it. I always wonder what Brendan Rodgers' bravery. I don't particularly like that. At the end of the day, he's part of that recruitment. Brendan Rodgers is the football manager.
Managers can only be,
but he's got to have
so much of a part of it, because if he's saying he wants them to be braver, he wants them to sign ready-made players that maybe are a bit more of a fee. He can say all that and try and push it, but he's not in charge of the money.
Yeah, but I think like put it this way, I'm sure Postecoglou was very much in control of the players that come in, 90% of them, because you've seen where they came from, what league they came from. So there's no doubt in that. Brendan Rodgers coming back to Celtic, a very experienced manager, would probably have that same influence in the transfer market. It's
a difference that managers have different priorities and where they shop and what market. Ange Postecoglou was confident in a lot of the players he brought over from Japan, that they could come, be first team players and make an instant impact. Brendan Rodgers has spent most of his career as a manager in England. It's the market he knows best. It's the market he tends to shop in. Players that are going to come in and be starters just because of the market are probably going to cost a bit more, aren't they?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Andrew, and I do believe that's why some of the deals probably didn't go through, because as an agent, as a player, as a club, you're looking at Celtic and everybody talks about cash rich. So you're going to try and get the best value for these players. But when you look at this market, Celtic have brought in a guy from the Championship that was, third choice at Norwich. Now, if you go and shop in that market, teams have got goal scorers ain't going to let you have them in January unless you pay through the roof for them, and that ain't going to happen. So I always thought that was a difficult one. Where I think, to be honest with you, I know the Celtic fans have complaints. The one area I thought they would have covered right away would have been the left back area for me. I know that unfortunately for Hatate, but they've got players that can go in the middle of the park and play. But the left back area, and Bernabe today, I wrote him off last week against Ross County. I thought at one point he was an absolute disgrace. He needs a big performance.
Something coming for you.
Well, let's hear from both men in the dugout today, starting with Aberdeen interim boss Peter Leavin.
You got to play them sometime, and obviously they've came right now, but we're Aberdeen. Celtic are coming to our home pitch. We gave them a tough game at the start of the season against them, so I'm just taking one game as it is. I've got Celtic and see how that goes, then I'll prepare after that for Rangers. Fans are massive. It's a massive club, but the fans need the players as well. So I need the players to be at it, and that brings the fans. But I need the fans all together. Massive club, massive support. So hopefully the fans can bring the noise. I've seen a little things over the season that I like. So I've got a lot of things. My ideas in general at times has been really good. So obviously I've got a plan with Scotty. So we'll hopefully implement that, and we'll try and get a result.
No, I think we always prepare for a tough game. What I will say, I think it's, I really feel for Barry in the situation that he was in, because he's probably punished a little because of the success that he had. Taking them into European football. He had a great run last season, getting into Europe, and then that's never easy because of obviously the expectation, but the physicality of it all, having to play in the weekends, midweek, and then go again. So that's obviously been a challenge for them. But no, sad to see him go. He's a good football guy, and he'll learn from the experience and then be ready to take that into his next job.
Barry Robson gone from Aberdeen. Interesting developments this morning. Reports they want an interim manager, I suppose it will be, in charge until the summer. 3 candidates, 2 of them unnamed, one of them reportedly Neil Warnock.
Dave Cormack, the Aberdeen owner, has made such a bad job of appointing managers that I think he is doing the smart thing by getting an interim boss in, so that they have the time to do their due diligence and get in a guy that might be successful this time. His track record's very poor, Dave Cormack. This is a big call for him.
Where's Alan Burrows and all this though?
Well, he's, of course, but at the end of the day, the man owns the club.
But
you would
hires
think in Alan Burrows'
Burrows.
role, though, that he'd be leading the search, or would it be a sort of joint venture?
Have they got a
between-
director of football up there as well?
Well, I mean, Alan Burrows is the one you'd expect to,
But he
to
goes
do
to
most of it.
he goes to Dave Cormack and says, "Look, I think we should go for it." And Dave Cormack then has the call. But whoever, they've had 3 managers in quick succession, all poor, and they have got to get this one right. If it was Neil Warnock, I, at the age of 74, can hardly complain about a man who's 75 getting the job from now until the summer. But I'd be reluctant. For me, too much of a circus act. It would turn into too much of a circus. Him coming here expecting to give the press a daily dose of tremendous quotes and fun and laughter.
But on top of that, he is an experienced manager who has been through it all, essentially. Would that not be a good appointment in that?
In Scotland.
But then you can't just rule out managers because they haven't managed in Scotland. Ange Postecoglou had never managed in Europe, essentially. He had one short spell in Greece and was very successful, and is still very successful.
I'd be the last one to go ageist on Neil Warnock, but I think there's too much attention paid to Neil Warnock and not enough to the players. That they're in 8th position, Aberdeen. However, what will be. I think in general terms, they've done the right thing by giving themselves breathing space, whether it's Jack Ross, who's at Newcastle, Neil Lennon, who may or may not have taken the Republic of Ireland job by that time. Alex Neil, I think, would be very good based on what he's done in his time in England. But fundamentally, they are right to take a few months to think about this.
That club to me looks like it needs a football manager, not a coach. You know, they've tried Barry Robson, Jim Goodwin, who obviously came from St Mirren, Alloa. Stephen Glass was the first one. That club to me looks like it needs a leader, someone that's going to get in and just manage a football club from top to bottom and get it back into the shape that it should be, because everybody knows Aberdeen are a big club.
Kick off in 5 minutes. We'll go back to Pittodrie next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Fault and non-fault insurance specialist. Robert will even pay your excess. The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Moments away from kick-off at Pittodrie between Aberdeen and Celtic in the early kick-off. There is a minute's applause going on at the moment for former Aberdeen captain Ali Shewan, who played for them in the 60s. He was there about a decade as an Aberdeen Hall of Famer. So the players and the staff and the fans in the crowd paying their respects at the moment. There will be the black armbands on as well. We will try and go back to Pittodrie just for a final bit of build-up once that is over.
Well, I look at the game and it's a very difficult afternoon for two clubs. Aberdeen, 8th in the league, looking for their 4th manager, as Dave Galloway said, in under 3 years. It went toxic latterly with Barry Robson, and now it's Aberdeen in transition.
The minute's applause is over. Let's hear from Dave Galloway at Pittodrie.
Yes, Celtic line up, Hart in goals, Johnston, Nawrowski, Scales and Burnaby at the back, O'Reilly, McGregor and Bernardo in midfield, Abada, Kyogo and Palma up front. Aberdeen, Roos in goals, then it's Devlin, Gartenman, Jensen and McKenzie, then Barron and Shinnie sitting with Polvara, Phillips and McGrath in front, and Majowski leading the lines. That's how the lineups look this lunchtime. Hopefully we'll be served up a feast of entertaining football as Aberdeen take on Celtic.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. New year, new start. Quit the cigarettes with the smoking cessation programme.
Yes, Bojan Majowski standing over the ball, ready to go at Pittodrie for what is, it's always a good game, isn't it? Whenever one of Glasgow's big two go up to Pittodrie, there's always something interesting that happens.
Well, on the face of it, given the stats, it ought to be a win for Celtic, but Joe Hart, for me, they should have had a replacement goalkeeper in January. Just one of the omissions that will haunt Celtic if they don't win the title. Burnaby, dumped by Gordon Dalziel.
Oh dear, I think we might have some VAR issues already. The game hasn't kicked off, by the way, but there looks to be some sort of, I don't know whether it's communication, technical issues with VAR, so there is going to be a bit of a stoppage at the moment just while they work out what is going on.
You think they would have checked us before?
Yeah.
The Hawkeye guys down there, handing over headphones to the assistant referee. Get this checked before.
We're in danger of making
off.
ourselves a laughing stock, because it happened at one ground last Saturday where I think it was Kilmarnock against Hibs, where the kick-off was delayed for 5 minutes, where they got this all worked out. It makes us look Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't last too long. But while we wait, why don't I get a prediction? We'll do this game first, and then we'll do the 3 o'clock kickoffs later on. So Aberdeen against Celtic. Hugh Keevins.
A draw. 1-1.
Well, Hugh was talking about stats. I've got to go with the personnel. I can't ignore the personnel Celtic have got at the top end of the pitch. You look at Kyogo, Palma, Bada, McGregor, Riley and Bernardo. The goals in those 6 will mean Celtic will win 3-1.
Gordon?
Well, Aberdeen sacked their manager for a reason, so I don't expect them to be world beaters all of a sudden. I am going for a Celtic narrow win, 2-1.
Interested at the moment because referee Stephen Maclean has Brendan Rodgers and Peter Leven over. Must be explaining what is going wrong with the technology at the moment. You wonder whether do they decide if it's not working to go ahead without VAR, which they can do. But the fact he's gone over and explained it and is now running towards the centre circle, could that be what they do in this game potentially?
No other option. If it's not working, it's not working.
Let's call the game off.
How did it get to this point? I'm being serious though. Get to kick-off point.
I suppose you never know with technology though. Sometimes it can just shut down.
It just shuts down at kick-off.
Just switch everything off and then switch all back on again. That's what I do.
That's a solution for everything.
But Hugh is right. I think when you get one a season or a couple of seasons, you can maybe forgive. But 2 in 2 weeks in our leagues with 2 big important games, no. Needs to be much better.
The one guarantee
right, finally we are underway. We will find out the information to see whether the game does have VAR or not. But either way, the game is underway.
Get Dave to walk down those steps here and just ask, because it's right in front of him.
The game will be infinitely better if there's no VAR. Better off without it and let the referee do what they used to do in the old days, referee the game.
Oh, but one thing a goal goes in or something, Hugh, and it's just marginally offside.
I think that is a big issue though as well, because there will be supporters if there is an offside or if there is a penalty decision and VAR.
But since the installation of VAR, all we've done is argue. The VAR's made no difference to arguments.
I know, but it will just be a different argument, won't it? There's always something to argue about, but we'll see.
Let's concentrate on the football. I'm fed up with VAR.
It'll mean Dave Galloway will get up the road quicker if there is no VAR. We don't have that confirmed anyway, but we will wait and see.
As Bus is new duty 26, he's quite happy to stay on. Loves a bus, Dave, doesn't he?
Celtic with some early pressure, and are going to get a free kick in a dangerous area just a minute into the game. It was Matt O'Reilly skipping by an Aberdeen defender before going down. This is the sort of perfect range for a left footer, isn't it, Mark?
Oh yes, certainly is. And it's a sharp start from Celtic. You've seen Kyogo moments ago just driving at the Aberdeen defence. O'Reilly doing the same there, and it's set up. Palmer's come over, but O'Reilly, you've got to say, would fancy this surely.
I think that could go anyway, right or left, to be honest with you.
But traditionally that favours a left footer that side, doesn't it?
Well, hold on a minute. If that's Rangers, is Tavernier taking that free kick?
No, Barisic
would probably take.
No, he's not. Don't even listen to him.
But Barisic has taken quite a few free kicks
from that area.
From that area,
a right footer is taking.
So you're saying Palmer's hitting this, is he?
That goes against any football logic that I've ever known. That area of the park where it's right of centre is where a left footer takes a free kick. O'Reilly steps up to take into the wall.
There you go. Should have let Palmer take it. I'm telling you that area.
So from the other side, you say that favours a.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the best free kick. Tavernier would have taken that free kick. 100%. 100%.
But what I'm saying is it favours a left footer, which is 100% true.
Right. Okay. Can't believe somebody.
You know what I mean? He's digging himself at a hole.
5-a-side players sitting here arguing with you.
By the way, says the guy who struggled to walk into the studio today.
We're off and running the 6 hours today.
He's a disgrace. His ankle he had a crutch last week, Andrew. Can you believe that? He hobbled in with a crutch. Now he's got no
Oh
crutch.
yeah, did we get the update on whether you actually went and played golf the
I
next day?
didn't, mate. I'm even.
Did you not make it?
No, absolutely no chance. I'm struggling even today. It's a nightmare. I don't know what's happening. Any good physios out there, please give me a phone. 0141941.
Yeah, so no early action really. That Matt O'Reilly free kick went into the wall. Celtic got a corner, played it short, couldn't quite work it into the box, but Celtic with a bit of early pressure, but not too much going on in the opening 3 minutes.
Well, at least they've started on the front foot. I mean, they have to make an improvement that is 100% better than the way they played last week against Ross County. That's what got everyone upset at the start of the last week of the transfer window, when we have invented a word, thanks to our listeners, we have invented a word here to describe the Celtic supporters at the moment, and that is the Scunnerati. And the Scunnerati did not like the look of the game against Ross County, so Celtic had to start on the front foot today, and they have done so.
You see the Oxford Dictionary taking that up here next year as their word of the year and admitting it in.
Language must evolve. Scunnerati would get in my dictionary.
It sounds like the worst secret society ever or something like that.
Aye, Dan Brown book.
I agree with the lads. I think Celtic have started quite sharp here this afternoon. Yeah, it certainly is.
It is afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different game from Ross County. The full turning point in last week was that penalty kick miss, and then all of a sudden it was downhill as my player comes in here, left hand side. But they're certainly on the front foot, but there's a chance here of the counter attack, but Aberdeen just give it away cheaply.
You went early with the counter attack.
No, I didn't. I knew what I was doing.
30 yards for their own goal.
Yeah, can't control it.
Is it a big day for Alejandro Bernabei? Because yes, he was involved in the goal against Ross County, but you know he's been at Celtic for a long time now. Had only played 4 times this season before that Ross County game. Clearly has been out of favour with Brendan Rodgers, but with Greg Taylor out, does he need to make an impact today?
Listen, I think it's long past that now, Andrew. I think you get players who have a lack of game time, who sit in the stand, who sit in the bench, and they come in and you say statements like that and you think they've got a real chance. You know, if they play well today and then next week's the same and they're back in the picture. I think it's far gone for Bernabei now. I think he's had his opportunities. I think even his off-field stuff isn't probably befitting what Celtic expect as well. So he's let himself down a couple of occasions in that respect, but on the pitch is what's important, and he's been well below the standard.
A £3.75 million player who has been found to be, like many at Celtic, unworthy of the jersey. So the time will come when he's offloaded. He's there as an emergency stopgap because Greg Taylor is out injured. But to be fair to him, concentrating on this game and this game alone, he started well, in keeping with the rest of the Celtic players.
Yeah, just under 6 minutes gone at Pittodrie, 0-0 between Aberdeen and Celtic. What do you think Peter Leavin will be thinking as well? I always find it quite interesting when a manager is just sort of thrust into a caretaker spell. For some reason, I just think aesthetically it always looks funny on the touchline. I don't know if it's a manager who's not really been a manager before. They sometimes try and do managerial things, copy managers they've seen before. Do you remember your first time in a dugout when you were a manager?
Well, it would have been an Airdrie at Albion Rovers.
Chance for Celtic here. Kyogo's touch is just too heavy, but the clearance falls for Abada. Is blocked, but it is in, and Celtic have opened the scoring.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, it's all a bit scrappy, but that does not matter. Celtic have taken the lead. It was a shot from Leila Bada. It was saved initially, and Lewis Palma is there to tap home from a few yards out.
Well, the build-up wasn't scrappy because a fantastic pass is at Nawrocki over the top for Kyogo. I don't know what the Aberdeen back four are thinking, but Kyogo's first touch, I thought it was great. Wee bit too heavy, and you think Aberdeen have got away with that. Abada follows it up, decent save. Palma's there to knock it in.
It's all about rehabilitation for Palma. He missed 2 penalties last week, and we had callers on the programme who were not happy with the way he took them and his reaction when he missed the second one. But it's about rehabilitation, and he has paid back his debt in full with a goal.
You've got to say Aberdeen's full back four switch off and Celtic absolutely punish them. I disagree with Mark. I thought Kyogo's touch was terrible, but it comes to Abada and it's a good effort. Great save by the goalkeeper. Got to say,
he's just unlucky, Kel Roos, really, isn't he? Because he needs to just get a touch on it. He does, and it ends up you'd wonder though, is Lewis Palmer offside?
I said that right away. I said that right away.
Yeah, I think there's a
VAR might not be
do we
working.
know if VAR is working or not? There's certainly a stoppage in play at the moment, so it looks as if VAR is up.
I get what you're
running.
saying, right, about Kyogo's touch, but that's a hard one to take. But he gets it.
But you
he
said it was a
gets
great touch.
No, I thought it was a great touch, but then it was just a wee bit heavy. But he gets it across the defender. Defender, I think, should do much better.
What I would say was it's a terrific run, a terrific pick out. But Aberdeen, if you're Aberdeen, you'd be really disappointed in your back men.
Garland men, I don't know what he's thinking.
Celtic absolutely punished them there.
Can we just explain?
I will also say that this is one of the issues with VAR, because we at home don't know. I don't. There's obviously commentary on the TV. They may be making it clearer, but for those in the stadium as well, they won't have a clue what's going on, because the VAR setup is different. Because someone, I'm assuming the fourth official, is standing there with a headset that looks hooked up to the VAR screen.
But it's no.
Stephen
no
Maclean is now speaking to Callum McGregor. He's been talking to players that look quite clearly offside from the pictures
offside.
we've seen.
Yeah.
But we don't actually know what's happening. But that is the one of the problems with VAR, that there just isn't enough clarity at times.
But forget about VAR, right? I clearly looked at that and right away.
The assistant should be catching that.
Exactly. That's my point. As much as we can have a go at VAR, what is the lad in the with the flag and the assistant referee doing? You must be up with play.
Can we
with
assume here that since the screen appears not to be working at Pittodrie, that Stephen Maclean is taking instruction
but
from...
he wouldn't need a screen at this point anyway. The goal has been ruled out. It will not stand, but he wouldn't need a screen at that point anyway, because it's just offside. That's black and white. He wouldn't go over to the screen in that scenario. He would just get told by the VAR whether he was offside or not. So the screen isn't actually needed in that scenario.
So anyway, rehabilitation has gone for Louis Palmer. He's back to where he started. He has to atone for 2 missed penalties last week. But just to put everyone's mind at rest, it was clearly, transparently, undeniably offside.
Got to say, good save from Roos, because when that rebounded to Abada and took it in his chest, got it in target, Roos down to his left, and saved it, and it eventually diverted to Palmer. But decent save.
I've got to say, Celtic have started very sharp now, opening 10 minutes. They're passing the ball about, they're getting into good positions. Aberdeen are playing with this sort of a one up top. He's changed the system. It looks like he's tried to flood the middle of the park, but Celtic are moving the ball, and their movement is just catching Aberdeen out too much just now.
Will the early defending worry Peter leaving just for that goal? Because first of all, it was a long straight ball up that Kyogo gets the first contact on. If his touch was better, he was in, but it was a hard ball to take down. It then comes to Richard Jensen, who clears the ball but straight into the path of Lila Bada. There's a shot there from Celtic as well. That one is saved. This time it was Lewis Palmer from a tight angle.
Aberdeen actually looked frightened of Celtic. They haven't got across the halfway line since the game started. We're 11 minutes in, and Celtic continued to press, and Aberdeen, for me, looked intimidated by the whole thing.
Do you know what I think the problem is, Hugh? I think that the managers went in there and obviously changed one or two things which you want to do. You're in there, interim manager, I'm going to put my own stamp on it. Aberdeen players look like they don't know the system they're playing and what they're doing.
Is that what's tough when an interim manager comes in? If Peter Leaven has tried to put his own stamp 100%. On things, he's not had a lot of time to work on it whatsoever. They're then going into a game against the top team in the country, the top team in the Premiership, top of the table. It's going to be a tough afternoon to try and implement things that a caretaker boss has put in place in a game like this.
Well, who said life was easy? They've just got to make the most of it. And whether Gordon's right that they're really not too sure what they're supposed to be doing, or whether there's an element of intimidation, whatever is the case, I was about to say they're not going places, but they are now.
Yeah, they do have the ball, close to the Celtic box, but it was a touch from Jamie McGrath that didn't go into the path of Bojan Miovski, and Celtic can clear, goes all the way back into the Aberdeen half. Their first real venture forward, but not able to make anything of it. Bojan Miovski is the man they'll be looking to, though. He's in really good form. You may be surprised there wasn't some interest in him in January.
Yeah, I think so. I think especially from the two clubs here who looked like they needed a striker, but no bid made. Maybe the price was just too high for Miovski, but he certainly has a quality player who knows how to find the net.
I think they would be interested in him, but I agree with what Mark says there. I think Aberdeen maybe value him a little bit more than clubs are willing to pay for him. He's certainly a very, very good talent. Whether he'll enjoy this role this afternoon chasing about, I don't really know, but Celtic one front foot again, really
Lewis
going
Palmer
at Aberdeen.
taken down there. That will be a free kick, to which Aberdeen can't believe it, but Lewis Palmer, it was one of those where I think he just skipped over the leg of Stefan Gartenmann and you end up off balance. There wasn't any contact. Is that a foul for you?
No.
You'd be unhappy as a fullback, yeah.
No, not for me. I'd be saying I made an attempt for the ball. Palmer certainly avoided, but he's taken 3 steps here before he's actually went down. So now I can see where Gartenmann's coming from, that one. But an opportunity for Celtic. Palmer will certainly put this right on top of Roos, try and get a few bodies across him to make it difficult.
This is where Lewis Palmer can be dangerous because his right foot deliveries are very good. Is this the type of one that you just want to drop in? I was going to say drop in towards the back post. It doesn't make it past the first man.
Hit and miss, Andrew, because you're right. Sometimes he's got a wicked delivery that's right in the money. Others will go over everyone, and then that one's the opposite. That one doesn't even clear the first man. Pretty inconsistent with his deliveries, but when he gets it right, it is pretty spectacular. But he just doesn't get it right an awful lot.
This is one of those games that if you're in the Celtic camp, you're thinking, we're in top here, we need to make this count, we need to get a goal, we need to get a goal here. Obviously they've been close with the offside one, but they're really in top of Aberdeen. They've got Aberdeen on the rails just now. They've got to punish them.
Yeah, corner comes in from Celtic. It's headed away by Jamie McGrath. Once again, not the delivery they were looking for.
Well, doesn't beat the front man again. A good
It was a lovely reverse pass from Bernabe. It's just too much for Lewis Palmer, I should say, but it was a good idea from Bernabe.
Oh, he's got that in his locker. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, you're getting back, are you?
Yeah.
No,
It's a way Celtic play though. You know, with both full backs and the wide guys staying wide and then running behind, to create those gaps that Bernabe or Johnson the other side can play that pass inside the full back. Just too much in that one.
I've got to say I've enjoyed the opening encounters. I think it's been a good game. Celtic certainly come out the traps the better. Unfortunately not to be one up because obviously Palmer's offside goal. It was a terrific move from Celtic. Aberdeen really offered nothing. We've not seen much of Joe Hart. I think as a home side they'll be looking for a little bit more in the forward areas.
You would have thought that the goal being disallowed correctly, but being disallowed, it might have given Aberdeen a little boost, a little incentive, but they just don't look miles off it.
Dante Polvara down with a head knock, just went in for an aerial challenge with Bernabe there. He was caught, but I'm not sure there's much in it.
Nothing by Bernabe's right arm there, but Bernabe clearly going for the ball. Nothing in it at all. He's back in his feet. What about that haircut, Daz? Bernabe?
I love it. I'm loving that haircut.
You know, a zero around the sides and just that wee tuft of hair.
Bit of a mullet on the go.
I've had the length. I would probably maybe give that a month. I'd give that the January, February months. You know,
you try that?
Oh yeah. I think I look cool in that.
What your success rate would be?
What one of the super scoreboards? What one of the super scoreboard pundits would look best with that Bernabe haircut? Do you think?
Oh,
the super. Oh, Roger.
Gabs is the one that would do it.
Yeah,
Gabs is the most likely to do it. Yeah, definitely.
Gabs.
Great move again there from Celtic. Just, you know, that ball over the top, Abada threatening, and you know, for any young wingers, the Celtic wingers certainly look to go in behind more than most, and that's why they get up the pitch so much. Great way of playing.
Yeah, the delivery comes in this time. It is a Celtic head that meets the ball. Liam Scales at the front post, but that one is off target.
They're not the biggest Celtic at set plays, you've got to say. I think Aberdeen would probably have the advantage in that.
Scales is probably their most likely aerial target, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he should actually do better there. I think he just needs to glance at the pace is on the ball, it's out swinging, so just glance at, gets too much on it. He's by the front post, so just any wee nick would take it into a dangerous area.
So what I was going to finish there with, Andrew, is if you're going to score a set play, I think the delivery has got to be perfect. If the delivery is perfect, doesn't matter how big the defenders are. If you time the run right, you get everything correct, delivery, the pace is on the ball, then you'll cause problems. But as I say, I've been very impressed with Celtic in opening minutes. They're really getting at Aberdeen here.
Yeah, good first time ball by Matt O'Reilly out wide to find Leila Bada, goes to the byline, cuts it back, but that one is blocked again. Just the final ball from Celtic, not quite there at the moment.
I think that was a hard one, but I don't think you would mind that for your winger. You know, taking the full back on early doors, getting to the byline. You just couldn't dig it out as much, but the pressure's still firmly on Aberdeen. They just can't complete 3 passes. You know, it's one pass and then hoofed back to Celtic and allow them to come at them again. There's no composure from the Aberdeen players, and you look at the quality they've got in their squad.
Neil Warnock was phoned to say, listen, if I think about I'm alright, thank you.
Well, I think, is it Nicky Devlin's just taken a sore one there, nothing in it. Kyogo has just tried to block his clearance and has made a bit of contact there, but he's fine, he's back to his feet.
Kyogo's gone in search of the ball. He's fed up lack of service. I think he's going to wait to get the ball and see if he can do it on his own.
I mean, that was the talk at the start of the season, wasn't it? That, you know, Celtic fans, some Celtic fans anyway, thought he was dropping a lot deeper. It's maybe not happening quite as much these days, but maybe Kyogo's still trying to warm into the Brendan Rodgers system. Is scoring goals, but maybe just hasn't hit the heights that he did under Ange Postecoglou.
You know, Kyogo has the same number of goals as Cyril Dessers, and Dessers has taken unbelievable stick since he arrived at Rangers. So I think Kyogo, to make up for the lack of service, why there's a lack of service is for Brendan Rodgers to solve, but Kyogo's gone looking for the ball to see if he can just do it on his own.
I'm sort of in a different camp from that. If I was managing Kyogo, I'd be telling him, just stay at the centre halves, just stay on their shoulders. It doesn't matter if you don't get a kick for 80 minutes, guaranteed.
I mean, that was him under Ange Postecoglou, wasn't it? He could go a whole game and barely touch the ball and end up with 2 goals and is the hero.
At the end of the day, that's his strength, that's his ability, that's what he's all about. That's what he made his name at Celtic Football Club with. That's why the fans love him and adore him. So I would play to his strength and just tell him to play in the shoulders of the defenders, because he will cause so many problems to get to the right service.
Aberdeen making their way up the park. You know, they get a throw in just down in the corner. First chance for them to maybe try and get this ball into the Celtic box.
Well, long throw in, see what can be done. It really is their first chance. Some of them must have a nosebleed, they're so close to Joe Hart.
It's always interesting when you see teams, they've not been up the pitch, but they get a throw in like this and they think, we'll just chuck it into the box rather than try to invent something or you know, create a crossing opportunity. Let's chuck it in the box and
even when they've maybe
happens.
not even got someone that's capable of, because the thing is, you can have some players who have a decent long throw, but some players who can just throw the ball far, but it's that looped delivery that never leads to anything. Kyogo trying to dance past a few Aberdeen players. It's scrappy at the edge of the box. Aberdeen eventually get it away, but only as far as Alistair Johnson over on the right side. He's taken a couple of poor touches and manages to get a throw in out of it.
That area of the pitch, yeah. Well, I thought it was a clear foul on Kyogo. Maybe just overran it a wee bit there. He always looked like he was struggling. No,
he just kicks the back of McGrath's leg.
Okay, yeah. It's Kyogo that makes contact with McGrath. He just lost control out there. But a good opportunity, good ball from Matt O'Reilly. First time, you know, no other thought in his mind to get Kyogo on the run.
Was that what you'd taught Alistair Johnson?
That couple, no, I was never. I was all about.
I was meaning the 2 touches before it.
The 2 touches. No, I worked on his positional play and stuff like that. He's a very talented boy, very strong, but he needs leadership, and I gave him plenty of that in Canada. I'm delighted. I'm delighted I remembered where that was.
Canada.
What age was he again? What sort of
4.
age group were you coaching at that point?
No, would have been 14s, around about that.
Were they playing with size 5s, size 3s?
Yeah, partial was. I was always excited.
His positioning was outstanding. He was always near the seat.
He was brilliant at run round the circle and touching somebody's cheese.
Musical cheers. He was excellent.
Good lad. I do remember because everybody pointed him out and said, "Look, this boy will go far in the game." But I didn't. I didn't know. I didn't know he followed me to Scotland. But I'm delighted to see him playing so well for Celtic.
Celtic had a bit of difficulty passing out from the back.
That's up at the end of his sentences. He just puts that final word in there.
Just in case somebody
it's almost as if he's just making it all up and he doesn't believe it.
It's those painkillers that I went out of his car to get for his ankle.
I was just trying to buy a bit of time.
How much did you consider the crutch again today?
Oh, big time. I'm struggling. I really am struggling. I'm sitting down. I never sit. But look, more to do with the game. I'm enjoying the game. That's taking the pain away, I've got to say. Need a goal.
Yeah, 23 minutes gone. Celtic will get a free kick. It was Graham Shinney diving in there. Will be the first yellow card of the match.
And he makes absolutely no protest. He clearly knows it was an out and out yellow card.
Yeah. It was a really nice turn by Lewis Palmer, wasn't it? Just spins Graham Shinney, who steams in and kicks him on the back of the ankle.
You know what, Aberdeen are living dangerously. You know, even when they do try to spring a few passes, as soon as it breaks down, Celtic are just looking first and foremost to go forward as quickly as possible, get it into the front men. That time they managed to work out to Palmer, and it was just behind him, and Shinney has to take a foul. But Palmer's got another opportunity here to rectify his previous poor free kicks.
Yeah, both hands go up for Lewis Palmer. It's a low drilled delivery that is actually worse than the first one.
You know, the frustrating thing about that is Celtic bring up their centre backs. Now, if you're going to bring up your centre backs, you're not drilling a ball like that in low. You've got to put it in for them to go and attack it. That's very disappointing for him, Palmer. I've got to say that.
Yeah, what is the idea with what he's trying to do there? Because he's going for a low flat. Is that just a case of trying to get someone to get any sort of nick on it?
No, I think he's actually trying to drill that to the back post, probably just over head height.
Now that's an awkward one. Nawrocki has just been yellow carded there. Now in his position, you know, 25 minutes to go in the first half, another 45 after that. It's a long afternoon for Nawrocki.
Yeah, it was just second to the ball. It sort of dropped over Killian Phillips' shoulder. He got the first touch on it. Mike Nawrocki went in with his boot kind of high and caught Killian Phillips. I think no complaints from Nawrocki.
Yeah, we just see Brendan there with the old pen and notepad.
Does like his notepad, doesn't he?
Yeah, probably getting the summer signings. Right, okay, I'll not get that one
for the night.
Yeah. I'll probably not get him.
Beans to the my online delivery.
Yeah.
There's not many notepad managers, is there? I think Jose Mourinho's one. He quite likes his notepad, doesn't he?
I tried that for effect when I was the manager.
That's what we were talking about, doing things that other managers do just to look like a manager.
See, when I started, I had the wee notepad.
Did you? Yeah.
And then I was spending too much time writing down that I wasn't even looking at the action. And I thought, can I make heads or tails? Am I writing anyway?
Surely assistants and whatever can be doing that for you if you really need it.
I wouldn't trust him.
I went the other way. I was going, not a very good game. Not enjoying this, right? And then I realised I better watch if I'm ever at a game with a TV camera, because they can zoom nowadays. They done that at West Ham, didn't they?
They can see what's on.
They done that at West Ham.
The
West Ham, is it Padre? Is it
Alan Pardew? Yeah. Oh, I remember this actually.
And he'd written down 1-0. He'd written down the score.
A chance for Celtic here. It's Callum McGregor's effort. He just couldn't keep it down. Goes over the bar.
Well, after Celtic's bright start, and they continue to be the dominant team by far in the game, but all of a sudden we're 27 minutes in, and it's still goalless.
I think Celtic are playing quite well. I think they're moving it side to side and quickly. That's always the thing with Brendan Rodgers. When his team doesn't get a good result or they play poorly, he's always talking about the speed of the ball. And I think today has been particularly high. And they're getting out to Abada quite quickly. They're getting out to Palma quickly. It's just that final bit. They're creating okay opportunities. None really clear cut, but I think he'll be happy with how they're going so far.
I would certainly be happy with the start that Celtic have made. I know what Hugh's saying. Sometimes you're going 26 minutes on. We've dominated most of the game, but we've not got that breakthrough. But if they keep champing at the door, I'll eventually open.
I think it's always interesting to see the mentality of players once their manager has been sacked from an Aberdeen perspective. Sometimes they do get a bounce from that. Other times not quite so much. What would you say from what were you laughing at?
Brecon went on a 7-game unbeaten run when he left.
What we get in now? Oh, I left them in League 2. And then they're still in the Highland League and it's still formed.
I think they might be top of the Highland League in
you were
fairness.
a big part of that. Don't bow away for that. You
but
put
they've been
them
in
up
there
there
for 3 years or something. Let's not talk about them. But what kind of bounce? I think it's always hard to judge when you're playing against a team that's possession based like
they
Celtic.
are top of the Highland League, by the way.
It's Bucky now get games in hand or something like that, so that doesn't count.
Oh, to be fair, they've only played 14 games and Brecon have played 19.
Exactly.
I come from somebody that's not bothered about goals for against. Well, it was a sore one from Scales,
a kick to the head. It was Killian Phillips who got a good contact on the ball, but just ended up catching Liam Scales with a follow through.
Did he get a booking for that?
No,
I don't think so.
His foot was very, very high indeed, was it not?
but at least Scales, like a proper footballer, just get up and get on with it, rather than the crybabies you get would be still rolling around.
Just when we seen that Callum McGregor shot there, I couldn't help but thinking that was his goal. Remember 1-0 in the Jim Goodwin one? Was that last January? Was that last year? Just after the World Cup? Because an awful lot has happened in a year. I think it was last January, where Aberdeen were minutes away from a 0-0 with Celtic.
December 17th of December. Yeah, so just after the World Cup.
Just
you're right.
over a year ago. You think of what's happened at that club within a year. Incredible.
Do you know, funny you should say that, right? You're talking about that game. This has got the same pattern to it, because Jim played everybody behind the ball. And Aberdeen are doing the exact same. And eventually you thought of that game, they were going to get a point. McGregor scores. I think this could be the same scenario.
He got a lot of criticism as well for it, didn't he? Despite the fact that, you know, there's a chance for Celtic here. Lewis Palma, that one at tight angle, should really be hitting the target, but it skims off the top of the bar.
And he knows he should have hit the target. The look in his face tells you that. It's a bad miss for me.
Corner of the 6-yard box, Andrew. It sits nice.
Really good first touch.
Good touch. He's got to be putting that on target. Hits the top of the bar, but he's got to be putting that in the back of the net.
He is an interesting one, Lewis Palmer, because if you just look at we talked about it briefly earlier, but if you just look at the stats in terms of goals and assists, very good at this point in the season for his first 6 months or so in Scottish football. But does he just blow hot and cold too much?
He's a typical wide man, isn't he? I think Abada's a little bit like that as well. I think there's a lot of, and it's been for years and years. I played with one of the best wingers ever, was Davy Cooper, and I remember that everybody would always speak about Coop's fantastic games, but there was a couple of games that Coop really never touched the ball, never got involved, never contributed anything.
Oh, sounds like you're saying he's overrated then. That's what I'm taking from that.
I just said that one of the best wingers ever, and I will stick by that.
Saying he didn't contribute a lot sometimes.
But no, I'm talking about sometimes wingers do have those days when, you know, they just don't make the impact you're looking for.
Are those players really hard to rotate and drop for some managers, because they might not have great games all the time, but and here's Lewis Palma again, cuts in on his right foot. This one is blocked again. But really hard for managers to drop or rotate, because they are capable of getting you goals and getting assists in crucial moments. However, they might go a game or two or three at times and not do the business.
Well, they're the match winners. That's why you pay premium for them, and they'll be on big wages.
And I suppose if he did it all the time,
he wouldn't be here.
They wouldn't be in Scottish
football.
Be here,
but there's no doubt he's got talent. You can see it. He's got great technique. You just want more from him, because he scored some spectacular goals, because he's had some eye-catching assists. You think, wow, why can't he do that all the time? But that's the point, Andrew. If he did it all the time, whether people like it or not, he wouldn't have been in Scotland.
I've got to say, he's been very much involved in this game so far. I think he was a little bit slack there. I think that's a good opportunity. He's got to move that ball quicker out his feet, give himself the chance to get a shot and cause the goalkeeper problems. But he's been very involved so far in the opening 31 minutes.
Now there's the damning stats. Aberdeen have had no shots on target, no touches inside the opposition box. The stats of a team who are getting a going over and have no idea what to do about it.
See, that worries me, that, Hugh. You're a home side, you're the interim manager, I'm looking for a little bit more positivity.
Yeah,
I really am, especially at home, especially at Pretoria. Everybody keeps saying this. Oh, it's a difficult place to go. Not really if you put everybody behind the ball and hope that you can snatch a goal in the counter attack, which is possible to do because of the quality you've got up front. But the way that Aberdeen is, if I was going along there as an Aberdeen fan, I'd be quite disappointed so far in the contribution to this game.
You mentioned it's possible with the quality up front. Bojan Miovski is very good, but if he's just got no supply whatsoever, then it's hard to. He's then kind of relying on a mistake or something along those lines, isn't he?
Yeah, and they might have one here because Celtic give it away.
Yeah, McGrath goes out wide, but once again, Aberdeen unable to do anything, passes it straight out of play.
That's the problem. Aberdeen look like they're lacking in direction. No real patterns of play. When players get the ball, they're just lumping it up to an area and hoping one of the wider guys or Miovski can get a flick on. And that's kind of been the same all season, you've got to say. Barry Robson, Aberdeen fans were moaning that they were missing out their best players in the middle of the park just to go direct. Peter Levin's come in and he said he's trying to work on a few things. Seems to be taking on the same message or the same shape. Here they are now with a decent chance, but again,
they can't pass the ball.
Yeah.
They literally cannot pass the ball to a red. They've been really poor. And Celtic, as I say, the only thing that's missing from Celtic's opening 33 is a goal. And they deserve a goal because they've been far the better side. Okay, they've not put immense pressure onto the goalkeeper, but possession wise, moving the ball about, they've certainly been far the better side, and they're a team that look like they're going to score.
Is this the type of game that maybe new signings sitting on the bench think, I could come on here and get an opportunity and make an impact? I know it's still only early in the game, 10 minutes to go until half time, but will Adam Ida and Nicholas Kuhn maybe be thinking, look, if I get an opportunity to go on, I could make a real impact?
Especially attacking players. When you've been brought in, and Ida will be aware of the social media comments about him. He'll be desperate to get on there and show that he is a real player. And for Kuhn, he's been here for a couple of weeks now, so he'll be desperate again to contribute and get in that starting lineup, because that's what they're here for, to actually contribute and play every week. And now Kuhn's got Abada and he's got Palmer ahead of him just now. If the game keeps going like this, then it's the best situation for them.
I think if you're a striker particularly, you're looking at the pattern they play here and you're thinking, we're playing well, we're creating a few balls into the box, this could be ideal for me this afternoon to get my first goal, get up and running.
Well, then Nicholas Kuhn as well might look at the opportunities that Lewis Palmer's had as well and think, well, put me in that position.
I'm looking at, if you come on as a wide man and you play 10 games as a wide man, you play well, nobody's really, you won't be criticised for lack of goals. If you're a striker and you're playing for Celtic or you're playing for Rangers and you play 10 games and you've not scored a goal, listen, the pressure mounts, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, 35 minutes gone at Pittodrie. It's Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. Of course, there are some big games to come later on at 3 o'clock. Rangers against Livingston, Motherwell, Kilmarnock. Looking forward to seeing the Kevin Van Veen news, whether he's in the Kilmarnock team or not.
Yeah, man, yeah.
I read a quote from Derek McInnes this morning where he said that obviously Van Veen hasn't played since November, but he's a talismanic player, and I think the very sight of him will spook Motherwell. He won't start, but the minute he appears on the park, every Motherwell man, woman and child supporter will think he'll score the winner.
I've got to say, they must have sold some pies this season down in Kilmarnock. The squad they've got's incredible. The recruitment's been great. You've got to say, haven't you? You look at the forward areas. Derek McInnes he's got an abundance of riches. His hardest job will be picking the right formation for that.
You talk about every man, woman and child in Motherwell. Are all of them fullbacks? Is the question.
Well, it's a real difficult one for them today, and they could really do with the result. Unfortunate they get Adam Montgomery from Celtic, and then sadly for him, he suffered a bad injury. He's gone back to Celtic for his rehab. But you've got to fancy Kilmarnock today.
Yeah, it's looking good for Ange Postecoglou down south. I think they've just gone 2-1 up against Everton. Both goals from Richarlison, what a turnaround he's made of Richarlison. I think he's got 9 goals in his last 8 Premier League games now.
Does that with players though, and she's got a way of working. Doesn't get too close to him off the pitch, but players just seem to react to him, his ideas on the pitch.
He couldn't possibly do it, I don't think. But if it was this time next year, he'd be my choice to replace Klopp at Liverpool. I think he can do that job.
Do you know where I think he takes the biggest plaudits, Hugh? He lost Harry Kane. Yeah. And Harry Kane was the main man that scored. Look at the goals you've taken out of that team. I've watched Tottenham this year. I never used to bother with them. They're not a side that really, attracted my eye. The football he plays is absolutely brilliant. I've got to give him all the credit in the world. I thought, like everybody else, difficult job. He may be sacked by Christmas, like we all thought when he came into Celtic. He's been absolutely terrific. Breath of fresh air down there for me.
Well, Celtic on the attack again. Alistair Johnson, delivery doesn't make it past the first man. Will be a corner to Celtic. They'll be hoping the delivery from the set piece is better.
This is the worst Aberdeen team you've ever seen.
By the way, it's not far away, Hugh. Just looking at them there, Miovski's 25 yards from his own goal there. Everybody in that area. I know they're making it hard for Celtic, but I mean, have a bit of ambition at the same time.
Chance here for Matt O'Reilly, dropped to him, just couldn't keep it on target.
He's disappointed with that. He's got that in his locker. It's one of those ones that everyone will tell you. You just lean back. He knows exactly what he's doing. Great chest, brings it down. He looks at that far corner. He's just leaning back too much. Side foot. He'll be disappointed with that, with the quality he's got. But I agree. I think if you're Aberdeen supporters and you're sitting there, I think you deserve a bit more. I'm not saying you're up against a good Celtic team that are obviously up for it this afternoon, but at least give yourself a chance. The goals are up the other end if you're going to score one.
The ball over the top towards Miovski. Joe Hart is out there, manages to get a touch on it.
It's offside.
Yeah, the flag goes up.
Well, just that passage of play there, that seems to be Aberdeen's hope, and it seemed to be Aberdeen's hope for a long part of this season. That just a ball up, a flick on,
it'll just fall to Miovski.
Two centre defenders are maybe a bit sleeping, and like the goal they scored against Rangers at Pittodrie, that seems the game plan. You've got to be more imaginative than that, surely.
Yeah, Lil Abada just being dispossessed. He's still trying to get into his stride after his injury, Abada.
I think so. I think it was quite a serious injury by all accounts.
The ball in towards Miovski there, and Joe Hart gathers, but it was a good shape on that ball through. Miovski maybe just a few inches off getting a vital touch.
It was maybe a bit slow to react.
Is he offside?
No, he's
onside. No, my defender plays him.
I think Miovski's
trying to let it run across his body, isn't he? Yeah.
It's a good ball. He times his run very well. We opening that for Aberdeen.
And that's it. If they don't take their opportunities, they know Celtic will be straight up the other end. Although uncharacteristic from Callum McGregor, that just
puts it out of the park.
Balloons a pass into the stand.
He's been quiet this afternoon. Not seen him much.
Had one shot
over the bar.
Yeah. I was going to say that. I think he has been as well. But I think apart from a goal, I think Brendan Rodgers will be quite happy. They're dominating the game. Joe Hart's not been called into action. It's just a case of can they get that door open, because Aberdeen have set their stall out. They'll take a 0-0 right now, or a counter attack or a set play or a mistake, and take the 3 points. That's the only way they're going to win it, because they're certainly not been positive.
The Aberdeen fans can't believe that they're not behind and well behind.
I mean, do Aberdeen just sort of take it in increments now and think, well, we'll get by the next 5, and then it's half time, and then try not concede for the first 10 minutes of the second half, and just
players
keep doing
are
it
looking at the clock just now thinking how long to go. Devlin's taking the throw in here. There's no doubt he would have had a wee glance. Okay, 4 minutes to go, can we keep it up here?
And the clock at Pittodrie, I've never
is it on the advertising board now?
Was it? I've never
some grounds
obviously didn't have it when I played there. Calendar, I think they had there.
And Jamie McGrath trying to go to the byline, just overruns it. Will be a goal kick for Celtic.
Glad to see that's terrific defending by Bernabei. He just shows him. McGrath takes that extra touch.
He showed them where the advertising board was, and none of that.
You're on the Bernabei bouncy castle.
I'm coming back. He's actually played all right, I've got to say.
That there is maybe where Aberdeen just look completely disjointed, because they have two players as Celtic go forward, we'll stick with this, but they have two players forward pressing the goalkeeper, pressing the two centre backs. Callum McGregor is completely free in between them with no one within 30 yards of him.
Shocking. Absolutely.
Joe Hart
shocking.
just passes the ball straight between the two centre backs to Callum McGregor, who can turn and has his whole half.
A team with no direction there. Because how can you not know that that's what Celtic do? How can you have someone so far from McGregor and allow him to turn and just pass it forward up to Kyogo so easily?
You could see Bojan Miovski turn round with his arms up in the air as if to say, what on earth's going on?
What's going on?
Here?
Yeah.
But it looked as if it was two completely different messages, that sort of the two that were up top at that point, Miovski and McGrath, I think it were, and everyone else were on.
They're fortunate because Kyogo's final pass was poor.
He should go to the right, Mark. He's got I think Aberdeen O'Reilly to the right hand side. I think he picks out the wrong pass there. If he plays it to the right, I think Aberdeen are in all sorts of problems.
They are in all sorts of problems anyway.
Yeah, it looked like a potential foul on
Was it
Matt
Barron?
O'Reilly there,
Was it Barron?
who's down injured. Yeah, Connor
Is that
Barron.
the lad you had, Barron?
Yeah, he's outstanding, and he will go in the summer. His contract.
His contract's up. Doesn't look as if he's going to sign a new one. You
wonder where he'll go.
You would wonder whether Celtic and Rangers would look. I've seen him play a few times for Scotland's under 21 side in that central midfield area. He's the player that runs the game. He's a very tidy footballer. Maybe didn't play as much as he would have wanted to under Barry Robson, but might do now with a change of manager. But you wonder whether he might be looking for opportunities
at that level,
elsewhere.
Mark? Is he ready to get into Rangers Celtic's midfield?
I think he's got the ability. Yeah, I think when you're that comfortable on the ball for teams like Celtic and Rangers, with the way the modern game is now, everything's about building up. He is one that's hard to come by. I think he was unlucky that just Barry's tactics didn't suit him, so he found himself on the bench. But he will move on to a better club, I would suggest, in the summer. Don't know if that'll be up here, it might be down south, but get a chance.
We're almost at the end of the regulation 45. There will of course be other time added on, but it's astonishing that Aberdeen are still level with Celtic.
Yeah, they've offered nothing, Hugh. They've been poor, but you're still in the game. You're still 0-0.
Sure.
So they'll be happy in that situation, but you'd expect Celtic surely to score at some point.
Lewis Palmer cutting in as he does, going for delivery into the box. It's flicked on. It's all a bit dangerous in there. Could be a real opportunity, and it's off the bar from Paulo Bernardo.
Well, I mean, he tries to lob the goalkeeper there. I just wouldn't sit down from about 12 yards out, and it hits the top of the bar. But you even look at some of Aberdeen's defending here is outrageously bad. Just all out of position, taking themselves out the game. And then Bernardo's final effort just clipping the top of the bar.
He's not far off at all, is he? I mean, he's got so many bodies in front of him. Could he have done much else there? Maybe go low to
just
his
drilled
right.
it low.
No, I think he's very unlucky. Tell you what, I'm not giving the goalkeeper a pat on the back for his performance there. You got to come out and command that box and be a lot stronger and braver than that.
Kyogo's a big striker though.
Oh yeah.
Kyogo looked about 7 foot there when Roos was trying to go over him.
It was a bit embarrassing, I've got to say. But Celtic keep going, they keep champing at the door. But so far Aberdeen still 0-0. I think you're right. I think they'll be delighted to get in at 0-0. I'll be interested if they adapt the same tactics in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, does Celtic need to tweak anything when they are creating opportunities? They're getting forward once again here. It's Lewis Palmer over on the left, cutting in, finds the pass to Matt O'Reilly, who falls over, still gets the pass away, and Alistair Johnson goes for the reverse ball in behind, loses it. Celtic still have the pressure here.
I think that's a prime example of kind of what's happened this full first half. Celtic move it so well from their defensive third to the final third, and they move it out to the wide areas. They open Aberdeen up, and Aberdeen have got no answer for it. But it's just that final bit, the final ball's just not falling for a Kyogo or a Bernardo or a Palma. It's not really falling for an easy chance for them. But I think everything in between has been pretty much what Rodgers would want.
But a goal would be a great boost for Celtic at this stage in the game. They've got a chance here.
Yeah, they do. The ball is in the box. The shot from Matt O'Reilly is deflected wide, I think, for a corner.
They were getting in each other's way there. I think Kyogo and Matt O'Reilly both going for the same ball, as you see here. Kyogo's trying to get out the road, let O'Reilly have a shot. But once again, it's just.
I mean, it's like 90th minute defending from Aberdeen throughout the whole game so far, isn't it? It's just desperate.
Yeah. And maybe Peter Leaven will be happy with that. Maybe he'll say
it's
it
worked
shows
until this point. They've not conceded.
And
it's the exact same game as Jim Gooden. Exact same game, and I think it'll be the exact same outcome. I think Celtic, you cannot, for me, take 90 plus minutes of this. I think eventually the door will open.
Yeah, it's tough. How many times do you see teams sitting against Celtic and Rangers, and how many times does it just not work? They managed to get the breakthrough. It's a really good delivery by Lewis Palma. This time from the right hand side, goes into that corridor between the goalkeeper and the defenders, but Stefan Gartenmann does well to put that one over his own bar.
I'm questioning my front players, my midfield player. I think somebody's got to try and get across that. Yeah. That is a top quality cross into the box.
That didn't lead in from a set piece, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to work out why Mike Nawrocki was the furthest man forward there, as Paulo Bernardo manages to get by a couple of players at the edge of the box, and Celtic are claiming for a handball in there as Bernaby's shot goes wide.
That was his big chance. It's fell to Bernaby in the box, and unless I see something different, surely he's got to do better. It's on his right foot. I mean, it takes a few deflections in the way through. He's found himself in a lot of space. Oh, it's on his left foot. It's even worse.
No, he's unlucky. He's just tried to cut. He's tried to cut across that, Mark. Look,
that's dreadful.
As much as I gave him a hard time, I think he's had a good first half. I really do.
He's done okay.
I think, Mark, I think you're a bit hard.
No,
on
he's
him.
done okay, but he's surely got to score there.
Listen, it's half time approach.
Yeah, there were a few claims for a penalty there, but I think it was Jensen's arm was tight to his body, so that one is never going to be given. But as you say, it is half time. Dave Galloway at Pittodrie.
Yeah, half time, Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. It's been pretty much all Celtic right from the first whistle. Luis Palma tapped in after around 7 minutes following Kelleroos's save from Leo Ibarra, but after another frustratingly long VAR delay, it was ruled offside. Aberdeen pinned back by wave after wave of attack. They couldn't get it going at all, and the home support became very subdued. It was a really tough watch for them. The home side's long ball game posing no danger whatsoever, but despite all the Hoops' dominance, they were creating little at this stage in the way of clear-cut openings. One did arrive for Luis Palma, but from just a few yards out, his shot clipped the bar. He really should have scored, and he knew it. Nicky Devlin blocked another Palma effort as the Dons battled to keep the leaders at bay as the half-time whistle beckoned. A lovely build-up presented Paulo Bernardo with a great opening, but his chip over Kelleroos came back off the bar. So they've hit the woodwork twice in this first half. Matt O'Reilly then had time to see his shot deflected wide of target. Talk about one-way traffic. It's 72% possession for Celtic. They've had 13 shots at goal, just 3 on target. Aberdeen, no shots, nothing on target. Really one-way traffic, like I say. But at the interval, Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, it's a story we have seen from Celtic quite a few times. Sometimes they pull it out the bag and manage to step it up in the second half. Other times they don't quite manage it. But Brendan Rodgers, I think, will be encouraged by the areas they're getting into so far.
You can only be happy with the domination of the game. The problem is the game is won by goals, and they haven't got one yet. So once into the second half, you're then into dangerous territory, because it only takes one lucky break for Aberdeen and then you're in trouble. But Adam Ida, Nicholas Kuhn, if the guys on the park can't get the ball in the net, you have to then go to the guys that you brought in the January transfer window.
Does it have one of those, does it seem like there's inevitability about today that Celtic will get a goal, just given the way the game's going?
I think so, on the evidence of what we've just saw there. I don't think Celtic have played poorly or anything like that at all. I think they've played pretty well. Like I was saying moments ago, that their build-up play from their defensive third into the final third has been good. It's just when the opportunities have come along, they've never really been clear-cut. Maybe Bernardo could have done a wee bit better, Bernaby maybe at the end there, but they've created chances. They've passed the ball quickly, they've opened Aberdeen up. It does look like it's a matter of time. Maybe it will need one of those subs to come, but it's a different performance than, say, last week, where it was just a turgid afternoon that the fans weren't entertained. I think that's a different 45 minutes, although it is still 0-0, so you can see why some Celtic fans will grumble at that, but I think it's a pretty decent performance so far.
Yeah, the question for Peter Leaving, is it stay the same and hope that, you know, the way they're defending works, and it has been a bit desperate, it has been a bit scrappy at times, but they haven't conceded, or do they try and change things to get a wee bit more control?
I think if you went in at half time and you're looking and thinking, okay, Celtic have had a lot of possession, but we have been so disciplined of not creating anything, you would stay the same. I think if he stays the same, he's got to get punished, because you look at one or two of the chances. If Celtic players are a little bit more careful, take a wee bit more time, they're probably causing a lot more problems. So I would be, if I looked at that game, I would tweak one or two things if I was Aberdeen. They've got to get up the park. They've got to get up the park to give their centre backs a bit of respite. If they don't, and Celtic keep probing away at them, they've got the quality. I know what Hugh's saying about the substitutions. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think he'll make them now, but I do believe Celtic will eventually score.
I know you said it was a different game to last week, Mark, but Brendan Rodgers came out afterwards and basically said that he felt they could have won by a lot more, but the problem was just their composure and their finishing. That has been the issue again today. Does that become a concern if it is for pretty much 90 minutes last weekend, and then it has been for 45 minutes today as well?
Yeah, well, every passing week, if that seems to be the case and you're scoring the odd goal here and there, of course it becomes a concern. But I guess you have to stick to your principles, how you like to play, the formation you've got that's laid out there. It's never going to change, but the way you move, your patterns of play that Brendan Rodgers is famous for, it's all the same. And I think the chances will come. You know, I think Daz is right about Kyogo. I would just say to Kyogo, play your normal game. You know, good strikers, the ball will always find you. And you'd be amazed if they don't create more in the second half here. So as frustrating as it is, you know, not scoring any goals in 45 minutes, you can just see one coming. You would suspect one coming. And those guys that are on the bench, well, that's why they're at the club. They're at the club. If it's not happening, then they're at the club to come on and make an impact.
Does it relax you a bit more as well when there is just nothing happening at your end? There's not been a single Aberdeen touch in the Celtic box. Does that relax them even more and allows them to play their football more, because they know that if they do miss a chance or if they do misplace a pass, then there's nothing really coming at them the other way?
Well, the ball's coming back at you, but it's important then that Scales and Nawrocki stay switched on, because they're up against a top quality striker. That they just switch off and automatically assume the guys at the top end of the pitch will do the job. That's where there's a sting in the tail. So as good as it is, I've been there before, you've got the 70% possession, you're not doing much as a defender, you're just giving it to the wide guys. It can sometimes lead to a bit of complacency. So Brendan Rodgers, John Kennedy, Gavin Strachan, I'm sure he'll be in the dressing room telling his back for that don't be complacent, just keep ticking along and keep taking the game to Aberdeen.
Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0, the half-time score. We'll bring you the second half next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Accident not your fault? You'll be back on the road within 24 hours. The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half will get underway shortly between Aberdeen and Celtic. It is 0-0 at the moment. It has been all one-way traffic though. Celtic all over Aberdeen, just unable to get that final pass or get that finish away. But the opportunities have been there, just wasted so far, Hugh.
Yeah, they've fallen to Palma for the most part, and he just can't finish at the moment. Bernardo was unlucky, ball just hitting the top of the crossbar. But I'm very much afraid that at the end of the day, if the game were to finish a draw, all of those would simply add up to hard luck stories. And Celtic can't afford the hard luck story today. They cannot afford to do anything other than come away from Pittodrie with all 3 points. Otherwise there'll be a carnival at Rangers by 3 o'clock this afternoon before they play Livingston. So yes, they've been dominant. Yes, Aberdeen have been words fail me to describe how woeful they are, but that's even worse for Celtic. The fact that Aberdeen are so pathetic and that it's still goalless. So big 45 minutes coming up for Brendan Rodgers' team.
Yeah, I think when Celtic go into half time at 0-0 against anyone really, there can sometimes be a bit of pessimism, but I think generally there will be more optimism than pessimism, just given the the way the game's shaped up.
Yeah, Hugh's right about the 0-0. It'd be a poor result if they come away from Pittodrie 0-0, especially in the first half showing. But I do believe that Celtic will have enough second half to go and win this game. I think they're playing with a bit of sharpness today. I think they're moving the ball about quickly. Their movement's causing Aberdeen all sorts of problems. The big fear is, you know, Aberdeen are playing for that counter-attack. They're playing for that set play. They're playing for that mistake. Now, Celtic just need to be careful. If they're careful, then I think they'll go and pick up the 3 points. Looking at Celtic overall, I think they'll start with the same 11. I think in the back of his mind he might just be looking maybe a wee swap with Abada, Kuhn coming on in that wide area and replacing Abada.
Yeah, I suppose the question would be, how long does Brendan Rodgers give it? Really, he'll have been happy with most of what he saw, likely to stick with the same 11, and then if it continues to go the same way, that's when you maybe turn around and start looking at the bench, a couple of new signings maybe.
The hour mark's the old cliche that all managers seem to go for. I think it's a fair balance. You know, you give the starting 11 15 minutes to try and create something. The answer is it depends what Abada or Palma really creates in those opening stages. I would probably agree with Daz on that one, that Abada would look the most likely to be replaced, and we've been told that Kuhn has been brought to the club to play off the right side, not off the left, so that might suit. But look, if Celtic start quickly here, like they quite often do after the restart, then you know the game may take a different shape, and you know Ida and Kuhn may come on later on in the game, but the start is so important. And Peter Leaven will be saying the same to his side. You know, you've hung in there, it's 0-0, but don't be complacent, don't switch off in the opening stages of this second half.
The ultimate irony would be if Kuhn and or Ida score the goals that win the game. You know, they're
great transfer window then.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Well, the players are making their way back out the tunnel. Dave Galloway can tell us about any potential changes.
Yeah, just having a quick look round, and at first glance there don't appear to be any, but you can bet that won't stay that way for long. The longer that this game goes on goalless, promising enough for Aberdeen in the fact that, well, they've kept a clean sheet, but a really poor showing by them. It's been all Celtic. You can only see this going one way, really, can't you? But goalless at the interval. We're just getting ready to kick off. It'll be Celtic playing from left to right, attacking the King Street end of the stadium, and you have to wonder when a goal will arrive. It can only be a matter of time, surely.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Get the help you need to quit with the smoking cessation programme.
Yeah, no changes for either side. Matt O'Reilly standing over the ball and ready to get Celtic and Aberdeen underway for the second half. As we mentioned, no goals between the sides. It has been all Celtic, but can they just get that crucial touch? It looks as if they're trying to make a quick start as well, Mark.
Well, they did that in the first half. Got up the pitch pretty quickly. It was Kyogo that led the charge then, and you know their passing has been so slick today. But once again, we just saw there, it gets to a dangerous area and it sort of breaks down. That'll be the disappointing thing for Brendan Rodgers, that they're working the ball well, but you know, lack of cutting edge at the top. Here's right, the best chances have fell to Palma, and he should have done better with a couple of them, no doubt about that.
Is there a sort of weird thing for the manager there, that if the chances are falling to Palma, do you want him to stay on because he's getting in good areas, or do you maybe make a change because you think if someone else is getting in those areas they might do better? But then there's the flip side, that a player might come on and not get in those positions.
I would keep him on for now. You know, you think he's carrying out the instructions you gave him. It's just that final missing piece, and the more chances you get, there's every chance you'll score. So I would keep him on for now. Abada, like Daz says, might be the one to make way if things continue in this fashion.
If you're an irritated Celtic supporter, you're saying he missed 2 penalties last week and now he can't score from great chances, so there's a story that's built up around Palmer right now. But I'd be inclined to keep him on because, for one thing, he has been the most dangerous influence that Celtic have.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance I'd be taking him off the pitch. He is He's got good quality. He's been unlucky with a couple. He's been slack with maybe one, but he's still a threat. He's still a danger. And I'm sure that Brendan Rodgers has no inkling of taking him off the pitch as we speak.
Leighton Clarkson coming on for Aberdeen, seen Craig Sampson talking him through set pieces. So I just wonder if somebody's carrying an injury and thought, we'll see how he is for 5 minutes, because if you're going to make a tactical change, then you do it. You do it at half time.
Maybe a surprise he wasn't involved from the start. Leighton Clarkson, he is
a good player,
capable of the spectacular at times.
Well, good player, but a player who's forward thinking and can play nice little passes. And what's on offer at Aberdeen at the minute, they can't pass from meaty Daz, so they need their best players on the pitch, and Clarkson's certainly one of them in my opinion. So he'll be feeling hard done by, but it looks like he's going to join us soon.
It's very early, isn't it? I mean, has something happened to another Aberdeen player? I mean, we're 2 minutes into the second half. It
was a good ball across the face there, but it's Kel Roos who comes out and gathers. It was a deep delivery just in that area between the goalkeeper and the centre backs. Kyogo was bearing down, but Kel Roos is out there.
It's a good ball, but if you're Aberdeen, how passive have Aberdeen players been? Alistair Johnson got that ball at the edge of his own box and ran just up the line past two players. Nobody came to him and allowed him to cross the ball. You need to be much stronger than that if you're going to play for Aberdeen, and be aggressive, be competitive, anything but.
Well, maybe a chance to get a ball into the box here for Aberdeen. Bojan Miovski, well, did he try and flick that behind him, or did he just dummy it? I'm not quite sure, but either way, it means Aberdeen still don't have a touch in the Celtic box.
A wee warning for Celtic there. It was good play with Aberdeen down the right hand side. Good ball in. Didn't have enough bodies. That's the problem when you're playing so deep and you're playing everybody behind the ball. When you do get the opportunity, the support's very difficult to get to, Miovski. So but just a wee warning to Celtic to say, look, you have to be careful here, because that's what Aberdeen are playing for, and they've set their stall out to try and catch Celtic, maybe in the counter, just a mistake, whatever it may be. But the game's taking off the same pattern as the first half. Celtic dominating most of the passing, Aberdeen drop them off the game, try to make it very difficult for them.
Well, it can only go on for so long. If you're battering your head against a brick wall, then you have to make it stop and bring in somebody else. So it might get to Mark's fabled 1 hour, and then things
possibly
will have
a chance
to change
for Aberdeen here. Bojan Miovski makes his way into the box, a couple of step overs, and what a finish that is.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, we said he was capable of getting Aberdeen a goal. We said he didn't have much service, and he did most of it himself. He picked the ball up, he was driving at that Celtic box, a couple of step overs, cut onto his left, and a curling effort into the bottom corner. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 0.
It's like a mirage. After the progress of the game up until now, you would not have imagined that Aberdeen could go in front, but that is a tremendous effort on the part of Bojan Miovski, and Celtic are bang in trouble, because you can go on, I said it 5 minutes ago, you can go on about missed chances. That's just hard luck stories, and they now have absolutely no room for hard luck stories. They are up against it, and if they lose all 3 points, it's a disaster of a day for them.
Well, I did warn you that that's what they were looking for. But let me just say something, that if you watch this back, that comes if you're Celtic from Burnaby, right? And I'll tell you the reason why. He plays a ball into Mark Riley on the wrong side, and he allows the defender to nick the ball, and all of a sudden it's Celtic are out the game. But then it's all down to Aberdeen. That is top quality striking. That is fantastic. He's still a bit to do, takes on that left foot. That's a fantastic goal.
Yeah, I'd agree with Daz on that one. I'll start with Miovski, because when you've been starved a service for 45 minutes, you've had nothing, and you get your opportunity, you've got to take it. And he's positive, couple of step overs, but what a finish, curling away. But defensively, Daz is right. The ball into Riley or Bernard, whoever it was, and then going past, gambling, and he's left his space. But Nawrocki, when that ball's played up to Miovski, Nawrocki has to be out to him and shown him wide before Miovski even gets turned in the ball. Nawrocki's looking over his shoulder. He's still got 30 yards why your centre half isn't going out and closing that striker there and pushing him out towards the touchline is beyond me. He gives Miovski the opportunity to face him up, square him up, and score a goal like he does.
Cameron Carter-Vickers will be out for weeks, and this is what happens when Celtic lose the Carter-Vickers influence. And I go back to the 2 transfer windows that Celtic have had since the summertime: Nawrocki and Lagerbielka. Lagerbielka not even at Pittodrie today, and Nawrocki found wanting there.
Yeah, look, I know that you're looking for better one-to-one defending from your defenders. I totally agree with that. But if you analyse that goal from a Celtic's point of view, Bernaby's pass into O'Reilly is schoolboy stuff. It should be to what we call safe side, where a defender can't even get near it. He gives the defender an opportunity because it's a slack pass. It's one ball up the path. Take nothing away from the striker, right? 1v1. Strikers do that every day in training. You practice that 1v1. He shifts it onto that left foot, and even when he gets there, he's still a bit to do. Gives Joe Hart no chance.
I think Leighton Clarkson's been told to sit back down again.
Yeah, put your jacket on, mate. That's it. We don't need you anymore. But like I said at half time, Andrew, you were asking about, chances coming the other way, and I said the centre backs cannot get complacent when everything's one-way traffic and it's going pretty nicely for you in 70% possession. You can sometimes switch off, and I think when that ball is played in the channel, I think Nawrocki thinks it's a long way to go here. But the problem is, by the time the ball bounces and you've got a proactive striker like Miovski, you just open the door for them rather than keeping it closed and shutting them wide. If that is Carter-Vickers, I guarantee that he's been aggressive with Miovski and making him take his first touch wide. So, and Daz is right about Bernaby. So there's a lot going on there at that Celtic goal to pick out that Brendan Rodgers won't be happy with. But an uphill task now. It's all on the forward players now. They need to create. They created a few in the first half, but they need to create something clear cut now to get back in this.
They spent almost 55 minutes missing chances. Now they've got 35 minutes where they have to get 2 goals. A draw, I go back to my own phrase, a draw is a disaster, a defeat's a catastrophe, and a defeat would be a catastrophe for Celtic today. So they need to find 2 goals from somewhere when they haven't been able to find one in almost an hour.
Jamie McGrath booked there, not quite sure what that was for.
Not sure. Got a couple of players now on a booking, haven't we? Got Nawrocki, someone else from Aberdeen, McGrath, and that. Oh, by the way,
centre back caught again there.
Is Nawrocki?
Yeah, Mike Nawrocki has been booked. There is a foul there. I don't think he's going to get a second booking there, but Bojan Miovski is down. He's injured. The Aberdeen players are protesting, and
that's a yellow card.
Yeah,
that's a yellow card.
I said to you when he got his yellow card, it's a long afternoon for a player like Nawrocki. And if he gets away with it, he's a lucky boy.
He is getting away with it, and I think he is a lucky boy.
That's a yellow card.
Yeah. And Miovski's making the case to the ref.
Yeah. If I think that the referee,
I think he might get himself booked here. Miovski potentially. He has. The card has come out. The protests were too much for Stephen Maclean.
To be fair to him, I think I'd be angry myself. I've got to say, I think that. You look at that, I don't even think that's a difficult decision. I'm not one to anyway. I like 11v11. I hate all this 11v10 nonsense. I like to keep as many players on the pitch as you can. But if you're going, we'll keep saying it, letter of the law, that's a second yellow. That's a red card for him.
Yeah, well, Celtic maybe getting away with one there. They'll have some defending to do though. 55 minutes on the clock. It'll be Connor Barron to deliver from the touchline over on the left. An in-swinger. It's a good delivery as well. Drops into a dangerous area. Initial shots blocked. Graham Shinney has one blocked as well. And at the moment it's Celtic having to do some desperate defending.
What an amazing turnaround. Within 10 minutes of the restart, we were talking about Celtic starting quick and creating and scoring and getting the subs on, and it's been the opposite. Whatever Peter Leaven has said to his team, they've certainly took on board, because they've scored one and they've created a couple.
I think the goals gave Aberdeen such a lift.
To be fair, I think even in the 5 minute spell before the goal, Aberdeen were getting into more forward areas. There was the ball across to Miovski that he just didn't quite get the touch on. Graham Shinney had bombed down the touchline, hadn't he, at one point. They were getting forward a bit more. They looked as if they wanted to get a bit more control in the game, and the goal just sort of accelerates that as well, or helps.
Yeah, without doubt. But well, you have to give credit to the manager as much as you point fingers at the manager and the staff for their tactics in the first half. Then you've got to give them credit for the way they've approached the start of the second half, and getting the goal obviously gives you that wee bit more belief. You then start thinking, well, Nawrocki and Bernabe and Scales, you know, they're fallible. If you get the ball forward, there are opportunities there. We can add to it.
You just wonder now that, you know, Brendan Rodgers, how long will he give it before he changes things here? He needs a spark. You know, they've been in total control of this game. They get caught there with a fantastic goal. They need a spark to get them back into this game quickly.
I was going to say, if it is Nicholas Kuhn, if it is Adam Ida, it's a big responsibility on new signings, but that's what signings are there for. They're there to make a difference.
That's football for you, that they're brought in and they just have to go on with it, because, you know, there's been so much said about both of them of a negative nature. The Celtic supporters have not been impressed by their signings at all, but it's even greater pressure on them if they have to come into this game to salvage the day for Celtic, as Nawrocki just puts the ball out of the park and he's toiling.
Yeah, it looked a real sort of miscommunication there between Nawrocki, who I think he was expecting Joe Hart to come out. There was no communication, and then for some reason, well, it's going to be the two new signings that do come on, Adam Ida and Nicholas Kuhn, but he looks as if he had a lot more time there, Nawrocki, as well, and didn't rush towards the ball, and then eventually when he realised that it was going to have to be him to deal with it, he just stuck it out of play.
Well, I think when he looks up and he sees Joe Hart kind of in a straight line right in front of him, I wouldn't fancy giving that ball back to Joe Hart, so he deals with it like he sees fit. But is it going to be three changes?
Yeah, triple change, because Alejandro Bernabe off, Anthony Ralston on. I'm not sure that's a great look for Bernabe. Is it if a backup right back is coming on to replace
there's
him?
There's no hope for him anyway. His career has nosedived since he arrived at Celtic. Ralston at least gives Celtic a bit of that old fashioned passion for the club. And you remember the late goal that he scored in Dingwall one night. He's got that in his locker. Celtic are just throwing everything at it now because they realise they're in deep trouble.
Look, I don't think the first half Bernabe done anything wrong. I actually praised him, but I've got to say, as a professional player, you're playing at that level, you cannot play passes like that into O'Reilly. And I'm talking about, people will be wondering what you look at when you're taught as a young player. Play safe side away from the defender so that he can't get across and nip the ball off the person you're playing it into. It was slack, and obviously there's still a bit to do. Let's not just point the finger at him, but obviously Brendan Rodgers has had enough.
Just for clarification, off Bernabe, Bernardo, Abada, on Ralston, Kuhn and Ida, and Aberdeen have a corner.
Change the system.
The fear is if Aberdeen go two in front, Celtic are sunk at that point.
A chance here. There are claims for a handball for Aberdeen. They can still try and get this ball into the box with Miovski, who's dispossessed.
I thought they were claiming for a foul first, but Miovski almost stops when the ball's coming at him to claim for a handball. Of course it will be checked. They'll be looking at it as we speak, probably.
Yeah, with Celtic, because they were defending a corner, it's quite hard to work out exactly what the new shape is, because they've brought on a winger for a central midfielder, a right back for a left back.
Well, we know for sure
a striker for a winger as well.
We know for sure that Ralston's doing a Wilson. He's going to left back because he can't get a game at right back. We know that. We certainly know that's happening.
Kyogo will drop in, won't he? He'll be the number 10.
He'll play the number 10
behind Adam Ida. It's Anthony Ralston to left back, and Nicholas Kuhn will play out wide with Abada off.
Well, Aberdeen look as if they went up the tunnel with 11 men and come out with 11 different men. They look
an optimistic
opportunity. He had Joe Hart worried here. Let me tell you, I think all of a sudden Celtic look a nervy side.
They
look very nervous.
Spot on. I was talking about how well they were moving the ball and the pace there. They're like Aberdeen in the first half.
They're
claiming it was claims for handball, wasn't it? I'm not sure.
No, I think they're claiming for a push.
A push from
Alistair Johnson. I think Alistair Johnson's just defending his box. I think it's quite right to go for it. I'm not.
What about the effort from Killian Phillips there? What was that, about 40 yards out, trying to lob the goalkeeper his final action of the game as well. He comes off for Leighton Clarkson.
Not too bad. Instantly I thought, what is he thinking here? But Joe Hart was off his line because he was scrambling back to the net. Just drops just over. We've certainly got a game in our hands now, because it's livened up, because both teams are actually having a go. Even though Aberdeen are 1-0 up, it's not like they've retreated back and just putting everybody behind the ball. They're actually going for a second goal here.
Yeah.
And Daz is right, Celtic look ragged.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it, from first half to second half, as Joe Hart just
Hugh, I
puts
think
the ball
Joe
out of play
Hart
under
heard you
pressure
there, because he was under no pressure until you went and he kicked the ball straight at the pitch.
Well,
I think they've swapped dressing rooms at half time.
I know, amazing.
But it was always going to be the case, because the transfer window controversy had been such, and I said last night, the pressure on Celtic is tremendous at Pittodrie. Now, they handled the first half very well, except they couldn't put the ball in the net. But now they're a goal down, and I think it's gone beyond that they look nervous. I think they're in a state of panic now.
Well, there are some games at 3 o'clock as well. Why don't we go to Ibrox? David Friel is with the build-up for Rangers against Livingston. I think you've got some team news for us, David. And he's not there. Can't hear him. Oh well.
Celtic come forward.
We'll try and get him a chance for Celtic. A shot here. It's deflected and into the back of the net.
There you go.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, he couldn't do it. It was Nicholas Kuhn, wasn't it? The camera was focusing on Lewis Palmer, but it is a first Celtic goal for Nicholas Kuhn. Left footed, took a big deflection, but that will not matter to him. Ends up in the bottom corner, and despite the fact that they were under pressure from Aberdeen over the last few minutes, it is a goal for Celtic, and it's all square.
Well, fate is now lending a very big hand to the afternoon, because first of all, you had Nawrocki making a mistake and Majowski scoring, and you wondered about Celtic's transfer policy, and now Kuhn. Now that is a very fortunate goal for him, but he doesn't care. Brendan Rodgers doesn't care. The Celtic fans at Pittodrie and elsewhere don't care. 1-1, and we've got fun and games in our hands.
I think he does great. I really do. I think he comes in, he plays that 1-2, he keeps going. Aberdeen defenders are all over the place. Then when the ball finally falls to him on that left foot, what a start, what an impact from a substitution. So that gives Celtic maybe that lift. I said about the spark, they needed people on that were going to give them a spark. And obviously as Aberdeen come forward here again, Mosky trying to go on that.
What was his name there?
I know. I was hoping nobody actually noticed that.
It's almost like Bilal Mosney you were going for there.
Majowski, sorry, my apologies.
By the way, Majowski, I think, has got to slip in as at Clarkson and makes that overlap and run. He tries to come in, and it's almost a carbon copy of his goal and taking Nawrocki on the inside, but he's got to slip in Clarkson. But Celtic needed that there at that moment. I think if it goes on longer, it gets really, really difficult. I agree with Daz. I think Kuhn does well, no doubt about it. He gets a bit of fortune. But to come in, his first few wee touches, I think were good. Carries on his run, scores from the opposite side of the box where he started. Good change.
2 substitutions had an impact. It was a nice wee ball laid off to him, and then he gets that goal, because Celtic needed that goal, because it was one of those games that if they didn't get into it quickly, the longer it went, you could see Aberdeen just growing in that confidence. But Celtic are back now, probing the ball about, but they keep saying it. I think both sides now have got a great opportunity to go and win the game, because I think Aberdeen have been more, open, more attractive. What am I trying to say? Attractive. They're attacking more. Attractive.
Attack minded.
Attack
minded. Hugh was the phrase I was looking for. Is Celtic?
Another chance for Celtic here, and that one comes off the post. It's Matt O'Reilly with a really good layoff by Adam Ida, wasn't it? The ball fizzed into his feet, and a lovely, nice touch to put it into the path of Matt O'Reilly, but just comes off. I think it took a deflection actually. Celtic will get a corner that they take quickly. And the ball comes into the box again, flicked on.
Well, that's twice Ida, for the goal, and there, just lovely little cushion touch into O'Reilly's path. It goes near post, and I don't know if it's a save or goalkeeper get a touch on it.
They're home. He's offside.
To Leighton Clarkson, who looked offside. Joe Hart does a really good job of coming out there and smothering the ball, and Jack McKenzie with the rebound effort goes over the bar. You would have thought
looks
the flag
offside to
would have
me
gone
there,
up there.
Andrew. It looks offside. I could be wrong. He makes a run here. Oh, he's offside. Is he?
I'm not sure actually. He could
Was
well
it
have been
Callum
onside
McGregor
there,
is
yeah.
playing him on? But I'll tell you what, Joe Hart makes himself big. Good save from Hart. Really is.
Is that Kuhn in the right back position tracking him? There's Alistair Johnson there, because the gap between Nawrocki and the right sided player, I think it was Kuhn, is huge. I just wonder how that came about.
We've got a game on our hands because both sides now fancy this.
Yeah, it's a lot more open.
Yeah,
now,
in the first half, Aberdeen just fancied 0-0. Now, all of a sudden, we've got a real game on our hands here.
Yeah, Aberdeen now with a chance to attack. There's just too much on the path for Leighton Clarkson, but there is now just a sort of excitement about this game that you just don't know what's going to happen next. Who's going to get the next big opportunity?
Well, it's that great fascination in football. You get two teams on a tightrope here. It's vital for both. What a shave by Joe Hart there.
Baron. A what?
A shave.
A shave.
What's going on in the studio today? Can no one speak properly?
That was a clean shave as well.
I was right at him.
I'm glad you're here, Hugh.
Conor Barron caught the ball really well. Either side of Joe Hart, he might have had a bit of a problem, but it's straight into his hands.
Yeah, no, but it's great. It's end to end, and the consequences for Celtic are, bear in mind, a draw is of no use to them. A draw is a very poor result. Wow,
Kyogo
now,
working his way into
run.
the box, dancing past several Aberdeen defenders, falls to Luis Palma, doesn't catch it properly, and that one's saved.
It's entertaining. It's end to end. Kyogo does brilliant there to dance through. It's a hard one to take for Palma. Maybe he doesn't catch it as cleanly as he would have liked. But great footwork at the edge of the box.
Not something you see all that often from
offside anyway.
Kyogo. Yeah, he does look as if he would have been offside, Luis Palma. It's not something you see all that often from Kyogo. Is it picking up the ball and sort of jinking past a few players?
He's certainly got it. He's certainly mobile enough to do it. He just doesn't take it as part of his game, really.
He's done it all day. He has to adapt. The old Kyogo, the old system, Maeda beside him, it's not there anymore, and he's improvising, and he almost improvised to Celtic's great advantage there.
Right, let's see if David Friel can make a bit more sense than these lot in the studio. He's at Ibrox ahead of Rangers against Livingston with some team news. No, he's not. I don't know what's going on.
Come on,
is he even there
Switch
yet?
on
We
your
don't
kit,
know.
David.
It's 3 minutes past 2. He should be sitting in his seat.
He won't be there.
Ridiculous. But we'll be watching the game. That's guaranteed. We'll be watching the game.
I don't know. I was told he is there, but clearly technology is failing us at the moment. So you know what? It's not a bad thing. It means we're sticking with this game, which is very good so far.
I don't think you can take your eyes off this game now, because it's turned into a real football match, and Aberdeen fancy this, and Celtic are still piling in there and wondering when they're going to get a second goal. It's great stuff now.
I definitely think there's a winner in this game, Hugh. I'm sticking my neck out.
Well,
there's 20 minutes to go. That's bold of you.
Well, 20 minutes, it's not a long time in football.
Quite a lot.
Some people say the opposite. 20 minutes a long time.
And then there's a good chance there's probably going to be another 5, 6, 7 minutes added on if there's VAR stoppages.
Not if VAR's not working. It was only my defence there, but I do think there will be another goal here.
Not seen too much of Adam Ida so far, but he's had a couple of involvements where he's looked tidy enough. He's maybe a different type of striker that can maybe hold the ball up and be physical. Aberdeen with a chance here. The ball's cut back for Graham Shinney. What a huge save by Joe Hart, but I think the flag was up.
Well,
yeah, I think it did go up. It was play on,
Yeah.
But I think the flag had gone up, or just allowing Celtic to play on.
All over the shop at the back.
At the back, they're so open. It's unbelievable. There's so many gaps.
It is quite a theme, though, when Cameron Carter-Vickers just isn't in the Celtic side. They just don't look anywhere near as assured, do they?
No, certainly not. No, and that's what was it, £6.5 million get you? A solid centre half that you know you can rely on. I get that was here on loan, so they knew what they were buying, but that's the difference. You spend that money and you get something close to the finished article. Just now they're struggling at the minute. Anytime Aberdeen put the ball forward, they almost create a chance.
Celtic looking to do the same. Nicholas Kuhn maybe trying to add an assist to the goal that he's already got. Floats this one in.
Great ball.
Yeah, it's good, but it's chested down by Anthony Ralston to an Aberdeen defender.
But look how high Celtic's fullbacks are, and leaving Nawrocki.
I can't look. Scales has got to know that Aberdeen players got to cause them problems here.
Majowski cuts inside,
Does
plays the
well.
ball across, but it's well defended in the end.
This is all out attack from Celtic at 1-1. That was Ralston chasing the ball down while Johnson was overlapping Kuhn, who plays the ball, and when it breaks down, Nawrocki's 1-1. It's just one ball up to Majowski. So Celtic throwing everything at it. I don't think anybody will say that Brendan Rodgers was slow to change his tactics when they were 1 down.
Oh, that's a great opportunity. What a ball that is. Is it Bernabei Bernardo that should really take the touch here? He's onside.
Bernardo's on the bench, so I'd hope not. It was Matt O'Reilly.
Was it Matt
and the
O'Reilly?
ball get played into his feet and just tried to open up his body with the first touch. Just got away from him.
It's a huge save that from Joe Hart.
Joe Hart with 2 big saves in the last few minutes.
I'm not being disrespectful to Shinnie, but if you're a Celtic player, that's who you're wanting the ball to land at.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a great finisher.
Are you trying to spark this rivalry with Graham Shinnie again? This historic rivalry you've got with him?
I've got to
what were you
say,
saying just before kick-off?
good player. The Shins are a good player.
You were less than complimentary. So I hope
don't start that
he
now.
listens to the podcast. I'm pretty sure he does listen to podcasts every Saturday.
I like Graham Shinnie. Good lad, good player, good captain, good leader.
You've always said that, haven't you?
Here comes the Duke.
Peter Leven is speaking to Duke, who could have been away on deadline day. I think it was Leganés in Spain that had put in a couple of offers for him, but not to Aberdeen's liking, as Adam Ida proves to be too
Does
powerful
well
for Conor
yeah.
Barron, holds him off down the left channel.
Yeah, he does very well, got to say. Looked very confident there. Good play with Palmer down the left hand side.
It's amazing how we analyse new signings right away, though. You know, I'm looking at that going, oh well, he looks quicker than I thought he would be, and nice wee touches, and
what player.
I think he has been he has been a victim of just Celtic's transfer window, though, because there has been the disappointment of what Celtic have done from supporters. I think people have just instantly been negative about him without really having seen him play all that often.
It's a multi-layered problem. Norwich get Sidney Van Hooijdonk, who was linked with Celtic for a long time, obviously because of his father Pierre's association with the club. And when Norwich get Sidney Van Hooijdonk, they then release Adam Ida, which says to the Celtic supporters, oh, so we just get Norwich's scraps. So unfortunately he's come in with that pressure on his head. But Kuhn's already scored, albeit fortuitously, and maybe fate has the fairy tale ending for Adam Ida.
Yeah, I always think you've got to give somebody a fair crack at the whip, Hugh. I know what you're saying. I think that Celtic look down their noses a little bit. Oh, hold on a minute, he can't even get in Norwich's first team. He's probably third choice, and Celtic are signing him. But the lad could come up here and be sensational. He could, the first goal that he gets, all of a sudden could just kick his career, Celtic career, on to become a real steal. But that's the problem. Yes, when you go to big clubs like Celtic and Rangers in Scotland, you're judged very, very quickly.
Another interesting thing that was said by Brendan Rodgers in his press conference yesterday, he was talking about being braver in the transfer market, trying to sign those finished products. He did go on to say that, Adam Ida could come in, could hit the ground running, could have a really good 6 months, and all of a sudden he is the sort of finished product, ready-made player that they're looking for, that they sign in the summer.
Well, that's got to be the model when you're bringing in loan players that you hope that they do well, and you've got some agreement. Kuhn does well to dance inside and trip the ball. But when you're bringing in these loan players, of course you're looking for them to make a positive impact, so you can get them in the summer. Looks like Celtic's going to make another change here. I wonder, can't quite see who it is.
I've liked the last 15 minutes of Kuhn so far. I think he's been very positive, taking people on. I've liked what I've seen here.
Lewis Palmer's ball from the left this time goes over everyone.
He doesn't.
There you go. Look, I would take
nice
playing the
play
5 or
by
6.
Again, a wonderful looking ball from Alistair Johnson, just fired low and hard across the 6-yard box, but Aberdeen deal with it.
Yeah, it's always a hard one that to get on the end of it because there's so much pace in it. Ida was the closest one there. Ruse does well.
Stephen Welsh.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Stephen
not
Welsh
surprised.
on for Mike Nawrocki.
I'd have to agree with Daz there.
I'm not surprised with that.
Majowski obviously got in the You obviously got the beating of Navrosky, should I say, on a booting as well. So
yeah, good point.
Sensible.
Good point. I've not been. I know Mark's on different camp here, but he can come out and play from the back. I've not been particularly impressed with him.
Oh, today, listen, today, poor
second half
for the goal. Second half all over the place. So I would agree with you in that. I've just not jumped on him as much as some others have. He's only played 8 games, and injuries played a part in that, as well as maybe his lack of form getting back from injury. So I think he's been okay. I wouldn't write him off, but today, second half, found wanting for the goal.
But you could be right, Mark. I think Brendan Rodgers may just look at the fact that Aberdeen are fancying it as well. He's on a yellow card. Don't take any risks, just get him off the pitch. But it's a weighted pass there for Johnson down the right hand side.
I think the greater risk was leaving him on, because he doesn't do it, and Larga Bielka didn't even make the bench today. And we go back to previous signings. These two are £7.5 million worth, and we get Stephen Welsh on in his place.
Yeah, and if you look at where the arguments are going to be tonight, Hugh, you look at Celtic now, the way they're finishing. They've got Ralston at left back. Everybody has been crying out, if you're involved with Celtic, we need cover at left back. They've now had to go to the fact that Ralston has to go there. Shows you that, people weren't particularly impressed with the transfer window.
It's like Vata. It's
yeah,
going to be the next
Vata.
one to come on.
Is that going to be for Kyogo? Is that the only one, or is it Luis Palma he comes on for potentially? I know Vata can play out wide as well.
I know Kyogo is a shadow of the player that he's been for 2 seasons for Celtic, but I'd still leave him on for that one dramatic moment.
I'm with you all day, Hugh. Palma's sort of falling out the game for me a little bit.
Young players have to make their names somewhere along the line, and Vata might just do it today if he comes on.
I was brought on at 16, 17. You know what I mean?
Bring him on.
Don't get me wrong, I soon get subbed again, but it didn't matter. It was good coming on.
I'm not objecting to his arrival. I'm just querying whether
he comes off. Yeah,
I wouldn't take Kyogo off, but
no,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, interesting stats flashing up on the TV there. From the 76th minute onwards, Aberdeen have conceded the most goals in the league this season. From the 76th minute onwards, Celtic have scored the most goals in the league this season.
That's that.
Here we go.
With Aberdeen making a attacking change as well. Dante Bovara has come off and Duke has come on, so Peter Leven certainly thinks there may be an opportunity for them to go and
I think
get all 3 points.
He deserves great credit for how he's approached this second half, and even when they were 1 up, like I say, didn't he just revert back to what they were?
Oh, Alistair Johnson's got a problem.
Yeah, this could change.
Ralston will need to play right back and left back, just run across.
Could change what Celtic do here. Rocco Vata was stripped to come on. Alistair Johnson
looks
like
a
bit
hamstring.
of discomfort though.
Is it the hamstring he's holding there?
The bib goes back on for Rocco Vata.
There's another problem. If that's, we don't know the extent of the injury, but if Daz is right, if it is a hamstring, that's a number of weeks you would think. So your squad is losing players.
Yeah,
and where do you turn to?
That's a hamstring stretch.
So Burnaby's back in the mix at left back. It would be Ralston at right back, and so it goes on.
So what do you do now then if he has to go off?
I'm trying to think who they've got there.
Would it be a case of
Home or somebody coming on, or
I don't know?
Get James Forrest on
Anthony
at right
Ralston,
back?
Daniel Church play left back? See on the bench for Celtic? No,
Daniel Kelly.
Daniel Kelly. Sorry.
He looks alright.
No, he doesn't. He looks uncomfortable to me.
I've written him off. What my Brendan Rodgers, get your gear back on. Vata.
John Kennedy, get his gear on. Come on.
Big John was a good player.
Magnificent
fantastic centre half.
Yeah, he does look uncomfortable walking off there. Alistair Johnson, left hamstring, still holding it.
He looks like me walking into the building this afternoon.
I think he's done.
There's worrying times here.
Is he gone back on?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right, okay.
The body language there for a second was as if he was just going to walk straight to the bench and sit
just
down,
looked
wasn't
like he was going to the bench here. And now you've got, he's back on.
Yeah.
He's back on.
See
go and chase that.
if he's all right for the last what's that 8 plus minutes of normal time.
Test it out.
This is what you need. You need a 1v1 against Duke.
Duke, yeah. To be fair, he's done well.
Oh, he
done well.
certainly has.
So if he's back on, does Rocco Vata get his?
I think they'll get a couple of
Yeah, I
minutes.
think
sure.
you maybe hedge your bets at the moment and.
Do you know what? I'm looking at this Celtic performance this afternoon. The one player that been very quiet for me is the captain. Very quiet indeed.
Would you consider taking him off if you're going for it?
No, I would never. I think McGregor's just got something in his locker that can
Chance for
open up
Miovski to get to the ball
Oh,
ahead of Liam Scales there, showing a good turn of pace.
Yeah, he had
He
the
needs
beating
the
the
support
skills.
though. Does get it from Clarkson, the first time ball to Graham Shinney. They do have numbers up there as well. Aberdeen, Duke with his first real opportunity in the Celtic box.
I mean, you look at Miovski today, especially in this second half, playing up there on his own, what he's done, what he scored, what he's creating, and running away from skills. You cannot tell me he couldn't do a job for Celtic or Rangers here. I know there might be a hefty price tag on him, but he's still young. He's an international. He's scored in this country. He's not only
24,
about
I think.
24.
Yeah.
Aye.
Nah, he's a good player. I like him.
I mean that. There was a time that Celtic and Rangers would pay decent money for players in Scotland. You think of Scott Brown and Kevin Thompson and people like that, and they worked. You know, over a number of years they worked, and they're just reluctant to do it now. Players on their doorstep.
18 goals in all competitions last season, has surpassed that today. 19 he's got already in all competitions for Aberdeen in 35 appearances this season.
Aberdeen team.
I think
who don't create much.
I think it's the manner of his goals. I think he's got everything in his locker. You know, he's not just one of these guys that go on the end of tap-ins and, you know, the odd fluke here and there. He's got everything. 1v1s, headers, right foot, left foot. He's a very talented striker, no doubt.
Aberdeen getting himself in trouble there.
Yeah, he did with a nice flick to Kyogo. His first time shot is deflected and gathered by Kel Roos. But once again, Adam Ida showing that with his back to goal, he's had a nice few touches so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly can bring people into play. He does that with Kyogo. I don't think Kyogo should shoot there.
No, I agree with you, Mark. It's a bit far out.
He's always working away from him at the edge of the D. I think he should just keep that move going.
Right, should we try this for a third
Oh,
time? Let's see. Is
He's had
David
his
Friel
chance.
there? And does he have some team news for us at Ibrox?
Is it a drum roll?
There we go, we can hear you. Lovely.
Third time lucky. Pretty quiet stadium right now, just filling up. But you can imagine the noise in here if Celtic do drop something at Pittodrie. Big team news, Rangers have a busy schedule coming up. Philippe Clement has made 6 changes from St Mirren last week. John Suter, Ridvan Yilmaz, Nico Raskin, Scott Wright, Dujon Stelling and Cyril Dessers are all out. Leon Balogun, Borna Barisic, Ryan Jack, Ross McCausland, Rabbi Matondo and Fabio Silva for his first start are all in. Oscar Cortes, Colombian winger, arrived from Lens on loan on deadline day. He's made the bench, but Mohamed Diamande, he's been given a little more time to get up to speed. So the Rangers team, Jack Butland in goals, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Leon Balogun and Borna Barisic, John Lundstrom, Ryan Jack, Ross McCausland, Todd Cantwell and Rabbi Matondo with Fabio Silva up front. Quickly give you a Levy team as well. Shamal George in goals, Jamie Brandon, Sean Donnellan, Ayo Obalai, James Penrice, David Carlson, Jason Holt, Mo Sangari, Scott Pittman, Andrew Shinney and Joel Nibley.
Well, while David Friel was speaking, Aberdeen had the ball in the back of the net. Bojan Miovski, but he was offside. The flag went up after he put the ball in the net. Was of course checked, but that one not going to count. Was relatively tight, but he was definitely off.
Yeah.
And Aberdeen with another opportunity though.
Clarkson, was it? Clarkson through the legs of a Celtic defender right across the face. Miovski just off. So Celtic got off with one there.
He did the sort of cheeky no-look finish as well. Did you see that when he was basically on the Celtic goal line? Did the look away, but I think as he looked up, he saw the assistant getting ready to put his flag up. But it shows that with 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes to go with the 90, it is anyone's game.
Without doubt, it's very open, isn't it?
Been a great second half.
Yeah. Aberdeen have came to the party. Celtic making that substitution. I'm just wondering who's got to take off. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kyogo. I think the last 5 minutes
it's really got to be
Palma.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be Kyogo or Palma. There you
go. Well,
Lewis Palma comes off. Vata can play in wide positions as well as a number 9, so you'd expect him to go out over onto the left.
Some spectacular goals, a young man, and the B side and his upbringing, youth team. you know, it might just take something like that. If he gets the opportunity, he's certainly not shy to have a go from distance as well. Although his goal 2 weeks ago was basically on the goal line, wasn't it?
It's that kind of day where literally anything could happen. It could be Rocco Vata, it could be Adamida, it could be Majowski at the other end. We're into 4 minutes of regulation time and maybe another 5 beside. Anything could happen here.
The terrifying thing is that Hugh Keevins could get his first prediction of the day right as well.
Yeah.
Would you go 1-1?
He went a draw.
And I said 1-1.
Did you say 1-1? Oh, I thought
He went 1-1. I'm still in it with. I went 2-1 Celtic. Mark's well out it.
What did you say, Mark? 3-1.
It's not happening for him.
There's not been too many stoppages, has there, really, in the second half? I wouldn't expect there to be loads and loads of injury time, but there will still be some.
All the substitutions add up. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you get 4 or 5 minutes on top of the regulation 90.
It's been a mixed bag for Celtic this afternoon.
Yeah.
First half I thought excellent, looking sharp. Second half I think they've been all over the place.
Yeah, well, the ball into the Celtic box there. Once again, Aberdeen still looking to get that goal. They look as likely as Celtic at times, and they'll get a chance to deliver this ball into the box with a free kick on the right.
Experience v inexperience there, because Devlin just takes his touch and young Vata back to challenge him. He just takes it round him. Slightest of touches and Devlin knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
just to go down and buy a foul.
Yeah, in a dangerous place as well. And they'll certainly get the height advantage if they can get a quality ball in here. Could maybe put Celtic under a little bit of pressure.
Well, no doubt that the next goal wins the game, whether it's Aberdeen off this free kick or Celtic at the other end. Time's running out, and if someone does get a goal, it will be the winner in this match.
Connor Barron to deliver. Out on the right will be an out swinger. Plenty of Aberdeen players in the box to aim for, but Celtic pretty much have everyone back. Delivers with his right foot. It's a decent enough delivery, but Celtic get the first contact.
It's Welsh, I think. Good header from Welsh defending.
And that's the thing, Celtic can
Tell
now
you
look
what,
to
this
break.
is a great chance. Oh no, defender's back there.
No, he's done well. Ish.
I think Mackenzie does do well to actually get back. It's Kuhn who we hear is really quick.
Is he giving away a foul there as well?
Yeah.
I think just
Shinnie on Shinnie.
Caught Graham Shinnie late. And I was going to say I think Aberdeen will be happy for the clock to tick on, but with the way they're approaching this game at the moment, they almost look as if they'd be happy for a few minutes to be added on as well to try and chase a winner.
I think they'd be disappointed if they don't get a winner, because the second half they have been transformed.
Disappointed a bit strong. A point against Celtic still good, though, wasn't it? Especially with their first half display, which
you're supposed to be ambitious and have aspirations. You know, they are allowed that. They were poor, they were shocking in the first half, but no longer.
They'll certainly be better second half. I don't know if you can stake a claim that they deserve to win the game, but it's been a game of the usual two halves. Celtic first half, you're thinking, matter of time. Aberdeen get that quick goal. Celtic since then have been all over the place. And the worrying thing for Celtic is the way they're finishing this game with the personnel. You know,
6 minutes.
6 minutes added.
Yeah, Fergie's in the stand. He fancies it.
It's going to be a long throw from Nicky Devlin. There's no Aberdeen players in the area of the box that he threw it towards, but he might get a chance to put this one in with his feet. It's going to be another throw in on that right side.
If you're Aberdeen, you must look at this and think this is a great opportunity to win the game.
Yeah.
Right, predictions then. We've got 5.5 minutes of injury time to go. Is there a winner in this game? And if so, for who?
It's 1-1.
I'm going for a late winner.
For?
I think Celtic will snatch it.
Mark?
Got to agree with you. I think this is finishing 1-0.
I think one thing we do know is that there's a good chance that at least one of the teams will get an opportunity, if not both. The way the second half has gone, it's just been a really good, entertaining game of football. People talk about an advert for the Scottish game. This has been very good. You don't often see a team up against Celtic or Rangers, and yes, it has only been the second half in the case of this game, but go toe to toe with them and play quite open and create a good few opportunities. Aberdeen have done it to date.
Yeah, they certainly have done, and they might not be done yet. They've been good in the counter attack this second half. First half they were appalling. at stringing any passes together, but it's been a combination of them picking the right passes in the second half and Celtic being so open, especially between the two centre backs. There's so many gaps. Celtic in the box here could be that big opportunity you're talking about, Andrew.
Yeah, and it's just thinking of some of the players on the pitch in terms of Celtic. You look at Adam Ida, you look at Nicholas Kuhn, Rocco Vata as well. What they would give to get the winning goal in a game like this, the impact it would have for someone trying to make their mark in this team.
An Aberdeen player just down there, I think he'll have a quiet Saturday night.
Same one in the groin, I think.
He'll be staying in to watch the Gladiators. There's no point in him getting out tonight. But it'll be interesting. Is that a corner kick to Celtic?
Is it a throw?
Is it a throw?
I don't know. I think I looked at I thought it was a corner. Devlin just taking deep breaths.
Deep breaths. It is a corner. Yeah.
Good opportunity here. Set play.
He'll need to be alert despite his discomfort at this time. And that will add a wee bit of time on as well. It is a minimum of 6 minutes, of course. And a few players just getting a telling off. It's all very tight in the box at the moment. Quite a few players just gathered on the penalty spot waiting for the delivery. Stephen Maclean making sure that there's no pulling there. I mean, players know that they can't do it in this VAR era, but they still do it as the ball comes in. Well defended initially by Aberdeen, and
chance for Aberdeen.
Now they've got a chance to break away. Graham Shinney through to Duke, whose touch balloons off his foot and ends up all the way back at Joe Hart.
All of a sudden 3 of those 6 minutes have gone, so we're getting closer and closer to the wire. Anything could happen, but I just have this notion that we've had our fun and it's 1-1.
You were spot on, Hugh. If it remains this way, I thought it would be a bit more clear cut in Celtic's favour. Didn't expect them to keep a clean sheet, which you've not, but Hugh got it on the money, it looks like.
Alistair Johnson survived alright, hasn't he? From
that's good news for Celtic.
Injury scare.
I think he's done well today, Alistair Johnson. He recently come in for a bit of stick, but he's held up.
There's one more chance in this game, boys, let me tell you. Here it comes.
Yeah, it could be from Celtic.
Here
The ball
it comes.
floated in the header. I think Adam Ida, there's not much he could have done with that. It was just too high for him, wasn't it?
Anthony Ralston was in mid-air.
Great play from Vata.
He's obviously been watching the telly. He's not got that in his locker, Ralston.
Celtic corner.
I don't know what he was doing there. Yeah, another opportunity. This could be the last one. This could be the last opportunity.
Still a couple of minutes to go. 94 on the clock. Minimum of 6 to be played.
Celtic looking to take it short and quick. They've got a 2v1.
They have the advantage, and the ball will go into the box. Doesn't go past the first man. Headed into the penalty area. It's a strike there by Rocco Vata, who's claiming for a handball. I think it was probably outside the box.
No,
and Aberdeen win the ball back and can now try and break forward. Kyogo's the man tracking back. Does really well defensively there, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, Kyogo to keep that in.
But I don't know why Vata's trying that spectacular effort. You've got to keep the pressure on. Puts his team under a little bit of pressure. I think Celtic have been slack today and things like that.
Is that all part of that when I'm saying that some of the players feel this could be their moment to make a mark?
Yeah,
a young player maybe wants to, is the Adam Ida winning the header, just unable to get it into the path of Matt O'Reilly. And once again, with 1 minute to go of the 6 injury time minutes, still you feel that either side could still get one big chance.
Well, they need to be quick about it. You know, Alistair Johnson got a throw in. Looks to be no rush to take it.
He's nearly halfway up the pitch. He'll be in Aberdeen's box in the next 5 minutes.
That's the old, it's your own time you're wasting, isn't it?
Well, this could be it. They need to get the ball forward quickly. No, none of this passing it out the back.
Yeah, Anthony Ralston
in the mixer.
Get in the mixer.
In the mixer,
line,
it's called.
Looks up, sees Rocco Vata. Sorry, out
you were
on the right.
Great ball. Get at him. He's got to get at him. Adam.
Oh, there you are.
A chance for Celtic here, and Kilroos comes out, gathers. There's still an opportunity for Celtic.
Does well again.
The ball's booted into the air. It's headed back into the box. It's all happening. It's messy. And is that going to be a corner for Celtic? It is. And Aberdeen get away with one because they were all over the place defensively.
Well,
Has Celtic got to do better there? Has Riley tried to take it round the goal? I thought
I think he just tried to take a touch round Kyle Roos, didn't he?
I think Roos does well. I think he's quick off his line. He forces O'Reilly to go wider. He then gets, I think, a second touch on the cross that was coming in. By the way, if Celtic score from this,
oh no, there's a oh no. I thought
no, the assistant just standing in front of the ball at the corner there, as if there was maybe a
check out for a corner.
Right, this is really and truly the last chance of the game.
The corner comes in, it's headed over the bar by Leon Scales, or is it Stephen Welsh, I think it was.
Welsh.
And that should be it, because we are past the 96th minute. 6 minutes were added on, and Stephen Welsh, it was always going to be tough, wasn't it? Ball was slightly behind him, stretching back. And I think that is full time at Pittodrie. Dave Galloway.
Yeah, what a game we've had here at boisterous Pittodrie Stadium. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1 in the first half. Talk about one-way traffic. Celtic with over 70% possession, but they just couldn't make it count. Luis Palma tapped home after 7 minutes after Keller Roos saved from Leo Labada, but after a long VAR delay it was ruled out for offside. Palma's shot clipped the bar from just a few yards out, and Paulo Bernardo's chip after Kyogo headed on Luis Palma's cross beat the keeper but also struck the woodwork. The hoops knocking loudly at the door, but Aberdeen somehow kept it goalless at the interval. And 5 minutes after the restart, the home team sensationally took the lead on the counter-attack. A great through ball by Dante Polvara, and Bojan Majowski got the better of Mike Nawrowski before netting with a wonderful curled finish, and the home fans certainly came to life for that one, erupting there. Celtic looked rattled but made a triple substitution, and on 63 minutes one of those who came off the bench, Nicholas Kuhn, equalised with the aid of a deflection after swapping passes with fellow sub Adam Ida. Play was much more open now. It was really end-to-end stuff, and Don skipper Graham Shinnie passed up a great chance to score from Leighton Clarkson's cutback, but Joe Hart spread himself very well to make the block. Bojan Majowski again netted after Leighton Clarkson's superb setup, but he was offside. Celtic still well on top possession wise, but they failed to trouble the home defence as much as they would have liked, despite an injury time goalmouth scramble. That was as close as they came in that second period to getting the winners. Celtic, they just could not force the ball in. A result that very few people indeed would have predicted. At Pittodrie, it's ended Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Well, what a game and what a start to the day. It's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1 to kick things off, and we've still got plenty more action to come. We'll go around the grounds next.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Well, what a start to the day. An entertaining second half at Pittodrie between Aberdeen and Celtic, and it ends Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Now attention's turned to the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Why don't we go around the grounds and get some team news? Let's go back to Ibrox and get a recap of the teams from David Friel, and I think the supporters that will be making their way into Ibrox at the moment will be in a bit more of a buoyant mood than they maybe would have been otherwise. David?
Yeah, 100%, Andrew. I said earlier Ibrox was quiet. It wasn't quiet when the full-time whistle went at Pittodrie. You heard the cheers, you heard the drums starting over in the corner with the Union Bears. Yeah, Rangers are going to be up for this game. This is a huge chance to close in on Celtic at the top of the league. They're 6 points behind after Celtic draw Aberdeen, but they now have 2 games in hand. The goal difference is only 5, so this could be a pivotal day in the title race. I think Philip Clement is going to expect a big performance. He's going to expect goals against Livingston, who are bottom of the table, marooned, and this has got all the hallmarks. I think Hugh said it was going to be a walkover last night. I think Rangers should be winning this game comfortably. Philip Clement has made 6 changes from last week's win over St Mirren. Sedela, John Suter, Ridvan Yilmaz, Nico Raskin, Scott Wright, Dujon Sterling, Cyril Dessers are all out. Leon Balogun, Borna Barisic, Ryan Jack, Ross McCausland, Ryan Matondo, Fabio Silva are in. Oscar Cortez, who arrived from Lons on deadline day. He's on the bench, but there is no Mohamed Diamandi. I think he's a wee bit behind in terms of his fitness, so he will be on the bench. You know, I don't give Livy much chance here. They've not won in 120 days since they last won a league match. They've gone 15 league matches without a win. They've only picked up 3 points from the last 45 available. 6 points adrift at the bottom of the league, and gamble responsibly and all that, but they are 35-1 to win this match. I think Rangers should be winning this easily. Just go through the teams for you. Jack Butland in goals for Rangers, James Tavernier, Connor Golson, Leon Balogun and Borna Barisic at the back, John Lundstrom and Ryan Jack in midfield with Ross McCausland, Todd Cantwell, Rabbi Matondo in behind Fabio Silva, who makes his first start up front. Subs for Rangers are McCrory, Yilmaz, Suter, Dessers, Lawrence, Wright, King, Raskin and Cortez. Livingston, they drew with Ross County 2 each in midweek. David Martindale added David Carlson to his squad from Inverness. He starts in midfield. Mohsen Garrett and Sean Donlan also come in. Michael Nottingham, Stephen Bradley, Curtis Guthrie are all out. Jamal George in goals, Jamie Brandon, Sean Donlan, Io Oberlai, James Penrice at the back. David Carlson and Jason Holt will hold the midfield with Mohsen Garrett, Scott Pittman and Andrew Shinnie in behind Joel Newbley. Subs for Livingston are McGovern, Anderson, Stephen Kelly, Mackay, Bradley, Nottingham, Sean Kelly, Yengi and Lawal. The referee at Ibrox is John Beaton and the VAR is Matthew McDermott.
Let's continue to go around the grounds. Why don't we head to Fir Park for the newly crowned Kevin Van Veen derby, Motherwell against Kilmarnock. Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Andrew, the big story around Scottish football, certainly around Motherwell, was Kevin Van Veen. I think Motherwell fans expected him to be playing today at Fir Park, but they hoped to be playing in the Claret and Amber, but of course he's not. He's in the blue and white of Kilmarnock. He actually only makes the bench today, and I wonder what the reception will be for the big striker who was such a brilliant player last year for Motherwell. And when you add his signing to Derek McInnes's previous signings, it's been a good window for Kilmarnock, and their squad's looking really strong for the push towards a European place perhaps next season. Watkins, Vassell, Van Veen, and Greg Stewart as the strikers. You've got Derek McInnes, plenty of options. Dan Armstrong, Matty Kennedy in top form in the wings, and they'll fancy themselves today against a Motherwell side that have lost 35 goals in 22 league games so far, and 21 of those have come in the 11 home games. So you think it's almost 2 a game here at Fir Park's going to have to score 3 obviously to get a win, so that has to change for Motherwell. But although, to be fair to Stuart Kettlewell, had constant injury problems like Butcher, Blaney and Casey all back in the squad today. They might be the first choice back three, but all of long spells out through injury. Stuart Kettlewell of course lost out in Van Veen. He lost Biereth, who went on back to Arsenal. Brodie Spencer went back to Huddersfield. But he's brought in young Blackburn striker Jack Vale and 6 others, so he's had a decent window as well. Sam Nicholson, look forward to seeing him. He starts on the bench, but I think he could bring something in an attacking sense to Motherwell to try and get the goals to get them away from the bottom of the table. And looking at the teams today, unchanged Motherwell from the 1-1 draw against St Johnstone. New signings Vale, Devine, Biaro and Nicholson are all on the bench. So they go for 3-4-2-1 formation. Liam Kelly in goals, Bevis Mugabe, Callum Butcher and Paul McGinn at the back, Stephen O'Donnell, Davor Drakowski, Andy Halliday and George Gent across the middle, with Harry Payton and Blair Spittle in behind Theo Bair as the lone striker. The substitutes for Motherwell: Ashton Oxford, Dan Casey, Sam Nicholson, Shane Blaney, Adam Devine, Gilly Biabu, Jack Vale, Mark Ferry and Lennon Miller. 2 changes for Kilmarnock from the 2-2 draw against Hibs last week, and Daba got a red card and he's suspended, and Rory McKenzie drops to the bench, and come Tom Davis and Liam Pova. So they go with their 4-4-2 formation. Will Dennis in goals, Lewis Mayo, Joe Wright, Stuart Finlay and Tom Davis at the back, Dan Armstrong, Derek Watson, Liam Polworth and Matty Kennedy in midfield, with Kyle Vassell and Marley Watkins as the 2 strikers. Substitutes for Kilmarnock: Kieran O'Hara, Rory McKenzie, James Balagizi, Fraser Murray, Innes Cameron, Greg Stewart, Liam Donnelly, Gary Mackay-Steven and of course number 99 on his back, Kevin Van Veen. The referee today at Fir Park, Don Robertson, and I'm not sure Kilmarnock fans will be happy, because again in the VAR box is Nick Walsh, who was responsible for the Ndaba red card last weekend.
What about Dundee against Hearts, Roger Hannah?
Yeah, Hearts came from 2-0 down to beat Dundee 3-2 at Tynecastle just 11 days ago. Andrew Callum, Nieuwenhof, Dexter Limbikisa and Utara Oda all scoring and all starting today. Dundee, Lyle Cameron and ex-Jambo Jordan McGee get the goals for the Dark Blues that day, and it was one of 7 wins in a run of 7 wins in a draw from the last 8 for Stephen A. Smith's Hearts. That's lifted them 10 points clear of 4th place Kilmarnock. They're en route to Europe, and then Lawrence Shankland, who's still a Jambo after the transfer window closing, they've got the top Premiership scorer with 14 league goals. They did lose 1-0 here back in August with Luke McCowan on target. McCowan's back today after serving a 1-game ban at Pittodrie on Tuesday night. Owen Beck back at Dens for the first time as well since his loan from Liverpool was restarted in midweek. And Dundee are going well on 6th place after that 1-1 draw at Pittodrie on Tuesday night. That followed last weekend's 4-1 win at Livy. Both teams will be happy with their transfer window activity. I think Limbakisa and Scott Fraser coming in for Hearts, and as we say, they retained the coveted services of Shanklin as well. Dundee, Beck was one of 7 signings in the window. John McCracken, Owen Dodgson, Dara Costello, Curtis Main, Ryan Ashley and Michael Mellon, making it 21 new recruits since Tony Docherty took charge here at Dens last summer. I'll give you the teams. Just a one change for Hearts. It's an enforcement at the back. Stephen Kingsley dropping out, Toby Sibic coming in, so they go with Xander Clark in goal. It's a back 4, Dexter Limbakisa, Toby Sibic, Frankie Kent and Alec Cochrane. The holders are Benny Beringamy and Callum Neuenhoff, and then Utara Oda, George Grant and Alan Forrest. Behind that man, Lauren Shanklin on the bench, Gordon, Halkett, Denham, Pollock, Tate, Fraser, Tagawa, Wilson and Vargas. The host Dundee have a couple of changes from that draw at Pittodrie. As we say, McCowan free from suspension, he comes back in, and as does the fit again Mellon, with Mo Silla and Zach Robinson dropping to the bench. So it's Trevor Carson in goal, a back 3, Lee Ashcroft, Joe Shaughnessy the skipper and Owen Dodgson. Across the middle, Jordan McGee, Lyle Cameron, Malachi Boateng, Luke McCowan and Owen Beck, and up top Michael Mellon starts for the first time with Amadou Bakayoko, and the bench Legsden, Sharp and Astley, Tiffany Main and Mulligan, Robinson, Robertson and Silla. The referee is Graham Granger, and the VAR at Dens Park this afternoon, Andrew, is Grant Irvin.
And let's go to Easter Road. Dale Eaton watching on for Hibs against St Mirren.
Yes, Sandra, I'm hoping for a great game here in the capital. These two sides have met twice at Easter Road so far this season. A 3-2 win for St Mirren on the opening day, and a 4-2 win for the host in the Viaplay Cup quarter-finals. Nick Montgomery will be hoping his side come out on top, but just like the visitors, they come in with 1 win in their last 6, and you have to go all the way back to the 3rd of December for the last win here at home. Some murmurs of discontent starting to emerge from the Hibs support, with that tricky run of results still continuing, and they sit 16 points behind rivals Hearts, but coming from 2-0 down to earn a point against Kilmarnock last week, and 7 signings in January, 3 of which on deadline day, is starting to bring back some optimism, and they'll look to build on that this afternoon. And they made 3 changes from that draw with Kilmarnock, as Paul Hanlon, Kanayo Megala, Dylan Vente drop out, with Rory Whittaker, Maizani Maulida and debutant Nectarios Triantis coming in. They line up as follows. It's David Marshall in goals, a back 4 of Jordan Obita, Nectarios Triantis, Will Fish and Rory Whittaker. In midfield, it's Jair Tavares, Joe Newell, Dylan Levitt and Eli Yuan, with Emiliano Marcondes and Maizani Maulida up front. On the bench, it's Wallacott, Vente, Cadden, Mayenda, Amos, Stevenson, Lafondra, Mariah Welsh and Megwa. And as for St Mirren, they sit 3 points ahead of Hibs in 5th place, as they look to go one better than last season's 6th place finish and possibly get their passports out for some European football. But to do that though, they'll want to extend that gap between their hosts, and they feel confident about doing so. Manager Stephen Robinson said his squad's the strongest it's ever been, even though they missed out on Kevin Van Veen on deadline day. And he's made 3 changes from last week's narrow defeat to Rangers, as Mark O'Hara, Lewis Jameson and Jonah Ayunga drop out for Keelan Boyd-Muntz, James Scott and Mikael Mandron. The Saints go with Zach Hemming in goals, Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and James Bolton in defence, Evlis Pomono, Kwon, Keelan Boyd-Muntz and Scott Tanser in midfield, with a front 3 of Greg Kilty, James Scott and Mikael Mandron. On the bench they have Erminski, Taylor, Dunn, Brown, Flynn, Penman, Jameson, Olasanya and Ayunga. The referee is Willie Collum and Alan Muir is on VAR.
Plenty more build up to those games and the reaction to Celtic's draw with Aberdeen coming up next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Less than 10 minutes to go until kick-off in the 3 o'clock games. There has been one game today. It was a 1-1 draw between Aberdeen and Celtic. It was one-way traffic in the first half. It was all Celtic, but in that second half it was an open game. It was entertaining. Aberdeen took the lead through Bojan Miovski, but January signing Nicholas Kuhn levelled things up, and it was a point apiece. Let's take a look at the 3 o'clock games though, shall we? We will go back to Ibrox shortly, but let's go to Fir Park. Motherwell against Kilmarnock. Two teams with very different transfer windows, I would say. Fraser Wishart, Motherwell, they needed bodies in, they got bodies in. It's a question of what the quality will be like, but I think Kilmarnock fans will be looking very optimistic given the players that they've managed to bring in.
Oh, absolutely. I think Kilmarnock will be very happy sitting in 4th place in the table. Derek McInnes, as we know, shrewd manager, plenty of experience, and he certainly can't complain about the backing he's had over the recent periods, but he was in a good position because his team was strong, his squad was strong already, so he's just added a few players on top of that, and like Greg Stewart and Kevin Van Veen will come in and give them just that more attacking options, so things looking very rosy down Rugby Parkway, and I think they'll fancy their chances today. For Motherwell, it's just been a bit of a chaotic season. They started so well, we know that bad long run they had, we know the problems they've had with strikers as well. Connor Wilkinson was sold and Biereth was taken back as well, so Theo Beale's been the lone striker. They brought in young Jack Vale, 19-year-old from Blackburn. It's a bit of a gamble, if they not get their own 19-year-olds in their own squad that they could give a chance to. We don't know much about this young lad as well, but a lot on his shoulders, which I think we all in this show are looking at Motherwell thinking, could they be the ones who just drop towards the bottom? They're very near the bottom as it is, but I think again 6-7 players brought in by Stuart Kettlewell, so he's a bit of backing as well, but that's it, the window's closed. It's now up to the players, and the Motherwell players in particular, to do the job for their club, but I think this is a tricky one for Motherwell. I think Kilmarnock are playing well, they've got plenty of attacking options, Armstrong, Kennedy as well. I think it's a tough one for Motherwell given their poor home form.
Yeah, Roger Hanna at Dens Park. I think there's been a few eyes on Dundee's recruitment. A lot of players brought in. Owen Beck back at the club. Michael Mellon looks like a smart pickup as well. And for Hearts, it was all about Lauren Shanklin. So much talk throughout the window, but they'll be delighted that it came to nothing.
Yeah, sometimes it's much about retaining what you've got than adding to it. In January, I listened to Philip Clement yesterday speaking at the Rangers training ground, Andrew, and he was delighted that Rangers had held on to Jack Butland and Rid van Yilmaz in the face of bids during the transfer window. So Hearts will be delighted, ecstatic that Lawrence Shanklin is staying at least until the summer. 18 months left in the captain's contract, 14 league goals. He has carried Hearts on his back this season. I think he's got back-to-back Premiership Player of the Month awards, Andrew. That's how vital Shanklin has been. He will lead the line again today, and at a time when Hearts have now gone 10 points clear in third, you look at the value of European qualification to teams. You saw what it did to Hearts' finances a couple of seasons back. Keeping Shanklin, for me, will guarantee them a place in Europe again next season.
Well, back to Ibrox we will go after the next break.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast
with Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no obligation quotation.